podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, April 17th, 2022. This is episode 1886. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Wealthfront. To start building your wealth and get your first $5,000 managed free for life, go to wealthfront.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Happy Easter, happy Passover. Good to see everybody. Time to talk tech with moi, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This is the show where we talk about computers and the internet and smart vehicles, smart watches, smartphones. Is there anything dumb in this show? Yeah, me. 8888 Ask Leo. Dumb enough to try to solve people's problems with technology. Yeah, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion. The truth is you're not reliant totally upon me. We have the fabulous chat room available. Team Tech Guy at irc.twit.tv. They often jump in with their suggestions. And, of course, the vast listening audience who often calls in with good ideas. So 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number to call. And we're all in this together, so we can all solve our own problems together. Sam Abuelsamid, our car guy, our technology and vehicle technology fella, coming up in just a little bit to help us out. A little later, it'll be Chris Marquardt, our photo guy. We've got a big show planned for you. Big show. Rod Pyle, spaceman, as well. I'm sure we'll talk with Sam about the California Clean Air Resources Board saying they're going to phase out gas-powered vehicles in 2035. Although I have to say the headline from Protocol went, the state's Clean Air Resources Board unveiled its plan to phase out gas-powered vehicles on Thursday. When I first read that, I went, what? No, they unveiled the plan. They didn't. The plan is actually has a 45-day public comment period, a June 9th public hearing. But that's interesting. 2035, that's 13 years, if my math is correct. Not long. Not long. Let's see. What else has been going on? Apple is testing new Macs with their new M2 chips. We get this on good authority from Mark Gurman, who is the king of Apple rumor mongers at Bloomberg. According to developer logs, I don't know how do you get those? I don't know. But several new, as many as 9 new Macs with 4 different M2-based chips. So let's see, what would you have? You'd have the M2, the M2 Pro. Would you do an M2 Max and Ultra? Just like, I guess you would. What, 4 chips? Or maybe it's just the M2 and M2 with some extra stuff. We don't know. We'll find out. I think we will find out. So does Mark, by the way. I think we will find out come June 6th, which is when Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference is. So, about 6 weeks, something like that, if my math is incorrect, which I'm sure it is. Elon Musk. Wow, he is really the gift that keeps on giving in terms of tech news. He tried to buy Twitter. He offered a slight premium over the current Twitter price. I think the Twitter price is $48. He offered $54. Then tells Ted in a TED talk, I don't know if I can do it. See, by the way, this is a good thing to know about billionaires. Elon Musk is worth an estimated $270 billion, but most of that's tied up in stock and stuff. He's got a nice car, real estate investments, that kind of thing. Actually, he doesn't own any homes. So he can come up with some $3 or $4 billion here and there. In fact, he did. He's been slowly buying up pieces of Twitter. Why would anybody pay anything for Twitter is my question. See, I think, honestly, Twitter invited him on the board when he bought 9.2%, and then they reneged. One of the other of them said no. They changed their mind last weekend. Now he says, I want to buy Twitter outright, which makes you think, oh, that's why I didn't want to be on the board, because you can't do that. You can't do a hostile takeover if you're on the board. There's rules, my friends, and believe it or not. So, I don't want to be on the board. I just want to buy you. But then he says, I don't know if I can do it. He's very honest, or dumb, or crazy like a fox, because his hope was, I think, I'm projecting here, but he's done it before. I will say I want to buy Twitter for $54 a share, which will immediately raise the price to $54 a share. I paid for my 9.2%, a measly $3 billion, I'm going to make money like $1 billion. As soon as the stock goes up, based on me tweeting I'm going to buy it, I can sell all my stock and make $1 billion. Because times are tough for billionaires. He's got every penny counts. This, by the way, would be an illegal, what they call a pump and dump scam. You pump up a stock, pretend it's going to be great, $54 a share, and then you sell it quick before anybody catches on. I don't know if that's what he's doing. He has been accused of doing that before. SEC fined him $20 million. Somebody did the math, by the way. So Elon Musk worth $270 billion. You and I, the average American, average net worth, actually the median net worth is $110,000. So for the average median American, a $20 million fine to Elon Musk is about the same to us as a small fry at McDonald's. Can you afford a small fry? Yes. Can Elon afford that fine? Yes. Would you like fries with that, Mr. Musk? Yes. So what, SEC is going to have to come up with a better thing than a $20 million fine. That's just... Oh, Elon Musk, you bad boy. You give us some French fries now. Now. I mean it. Or you're in trouble, mister. Did you bring enough for the whole class? Researchers stopped an attack on the Ukrainian power grid. Researchers from ESET and Microsoft discovered a new variant of an old piece of malware from 2016. Now, that malware was used by Sandworm, a.k.a. Fancy Bear, a.k.a. the Russian military intelligence, the GRU, in 2016 to cut the power in Ukraine. They couldn't even come up with a new virus. 6 years later, you're still using the old one? Well, that's maybe why Microsoft and ESET caught it. Stopped the attack before the power grid was brought down. So we've been going back and forth. Why haven't the Russians, doing everything nasty that they're doing, why haven't they tried to do a little cyber warfare on Ukraine and us, frankly? Well, maybe this is why. They've been busy. They haven't had time to make any new viruses, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes sanctions, a lot of tech companies issuing sanctions against Russia. It's good. We got to do something. TikTok purged, blocked all non-Russian content on TikTok in Russia. That didn't work so well because what did get through? All Russia propaganda. So effectively, TikTok turned itself into a Russian tool for Russian propaganda. That didn't work. That did not work. Sometimes the sanctions have unintended consequences. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's the number. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can use Skype and call us. Shouldn't cost you anything. Website, techguylabs.com. Your calls next. Answers my phone, yeah. And picks it up, yeah. Hey, Kim Schaffer, the unbreakable phone angel. Now, that's a good song for you.
Thank you, Laura. That was very flattering.
Old blue eyes. Yeah. So, hello.
Hi. Happy Easter.
Oh, gosh, is this Easter?
I think so. And I have determined I have spent every Easter with you for the past 7 years.
Wow. All that and no colored eggs.
Nope.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
There have been mimosas in the past.
There have been mimosas. Lisa threatened she was going to come in and make waffles, and she realized it's just the three of us.
I know.
So,
Who's here? It used
there's nobody
to
here.
be buzzing on an Easter Sunday, but yeah.
Not anymore. Anyway, happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
What little Easter bunny should I take on?
Let's go to Jim in Annapolis, Maryland. He tried something you and Micah recommended last week, but now his computer's acting funny.
I take it you didn't go to Coachella, by the way.
I'm here. But I have seen that your son is partying his
Apparently, I haven't
off.
seen these videos, but everybody's telling me that Salt Hank is having a good time at Coachella.
Having a good time.
Where are those videos?
On Instagram and his stories.
Oh, Lord. I almost don't want to see. My son is...
He's dancing, but,
I heard he was break dancing.
Yeah, I think he had his shirt off. I'm not sure.
Oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. Thank you, Kim, for the report on my children. Jim on the line from Annapolis, Maryland. Hello, Jim. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Leo, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. How are you, sir?
Good. Let me tell you, you are really very good at what you do.
Oh,
wow. I listen to your show,
Thank
and
you.
I always walk away with one or two things from each show that teach me something.
As long as you're not walking away with fleas, I feel good. I feel positive about that. Yes. Thank you. That's nice.
But last week I was listening, and some gentleman must have called in about trying to replace get away from a bunch of duplicates.
Oh, yeah. He had a problem. A lot of us do where, our photos get doubled and tripled and quadrupled and start taking up a ton of space. Yeah.
Yeah. And you and Micah recommended Marquardt Gemini 2.
Yes.
As being something really good. I have a Mac, a 2021 M1 MacBook Pro. So I ordered it on Friday, got it. And so between Friday and Saturday, I was going through. I mean, I probably got more stuff than you even got. So anyway,
unlikely, but go ahead.
But it took me all weekend to go through everything and make sure I got it. And so I never turned the computer off.
Okay.
But after I finished, last night, I just shut the computer down and closed it up as Apple recommends you to do. Occasionally. And when I started up this morning, all hell broke loose.
Oh, no. What happened?
I opened it up, started it up, and I went into Outlook. Even though I have a Mac, I have Microsoft Office on it. And then also I opened up a browser, Firefox.
And Gemini 2 is running in the background at this time.
Which I didn't really realize at that moment. I thought it was just a deal where if I wanted to use it, I'd click it on and drag the folder over and all that type of thing.
Yeah, I think you have an option of letting it continue to spot new copies.
So within minutes, all of a sudden, within a minute, I get a screen that says, you're running out of memory.
Yeah. How much RAM do you have on that M1?
16.
Okay.
And, you need to force quit Outlook, and you need to force quit your browser. Otherwise, your computer's going to go nuts on you. So, I figured, okay. So I did that. I turned the machine off, turned it back on, see if that would work.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah, by the way. Yeah.
Anyway, it happened again. And I'm not calling you for a solution because I had to end up calling Apple, because they're really good. I mean, the reason
they have great support.
They have great support.
Yeah.
And we tried to delete, and I told her, here's something that just happened in the last couple of days, because usually when something goes wrong, you can think back and say, did you do something different than...
Yeah, guess what you did different? You installed Gemini 2. I could see where this is going.
So anyway, we went into applications, and we tried to delete it, and it wouldn't delete. So she ended up going into a little bit more of the back end, and we ended up, dragging it down into the trash can and everything. And so to make a long story short, eventually, we were able to clear everything, and it's not doing that anymore. I just wanted to pass the story on to you.
Okay, so let me talk about this because this is not an uncommon problem, unfortunately, with some M1s, although usually it's with the 8 gigabyte RAM versions, not the 16. It's one of the reasons I say get 16. And it's a problem with Mac OS. And so in future, and of course, the Apple is probably not going to tell you this because while these people are good, they're not, experts, despite the billing of genius. In future, run the activity monitor. In fact, I'd keep it running for a little while now because there have been problems with M1 Macs what's happening is you're getting a memory, what they call a memory leak, which is as a program runs, it requests memory from the operating system and then forgets to release it. And over time, uses more and more and more. If you open your activity monitor, there's a tab in that showing what programs are using how much memory. Almost invariably, and I've had this happen to me and I've talked to other people, you'll find something using 3, 4, 5 gigs of RAM. Now, maybe it might be Gemini 2, it might not be. Remember, if you have it going through a lot of photos, it could be, it's occupying a lot of memory. But in the past, one of the problems, and there have been a number with the Mac OS operating system, is tied to, weirdly enough, and I think they've fixed this, but that doesn't mean they've fixed all problems. If you change the size of your mouse pointer or use a third-party program that changed the shape or size of your mouse pointer, you can go into accessibility settings, and I always do, and make my pointer bigger. It causes a memory leak, and then you'll get the window manager, among other things, will show up using 5, 6, 7 gigs of RAM. Inappropriately. So what I would do is run your activity monitor and keep an eye on RAM use. And if you see anything using more than a gig, that's a sign. You can kill that process, by the way. That's one of the things Activity Monitor will let you do is look at those. So this is a useful tool when you get this memory issue. The operating system attempts to diagnose it, but it isn't going to do a very good job because it's kind of like looking at your brain from the inside. You need an outside observer. Activity Monitor will tell you who's using what RAM. And I found that, for instance, killing the window manager sometimes solves that problem. So I would take a look at that now to see if there's anything going on still. If it was Gemini, then you did the right thing to get rid of it. I would write to them and say, tell them what happened. We don't know if it's Gemini. That's the problem. And it could have been. It could be anything running on your system, but we don't know because it's a holistic problem. And so that's why the activity monitor is your best friend in future. She should have, frankly, had she known, she would have told you this and opened Activity Monitor to look. And then you can pinpoint it.
Yeah, I think she did, and there was
if it's using a few gigs of RAM, that ain't good.
Yeah,
that ain't good.
I can't remember, but she went down a whole list of.
Yeah.
But it was like 100 things.
Yeah.
It seemed like, and they're all using 2.3 meg or something like.
Yeah, they should all be in the megabyte range. Gigabytes would be a lot. So. Yeah, and I'm sorry that's happened. I haven't heard a widespread issue with Gemini 2. It may be you had so many photos, it choked. That sometimes happens. Thanks for the call, though. I appreciate it. Sam Abuelsamid, car guy, coming up next. Yeah, no, I don't think swap would make a big difference. Mac OS is a little bit of a strange beast. A little bit of an odd beast. What are you sitting in front of, Sam? What is that? Oh, you're muted there. Or am I muting you?
That was me. I muted it so I wouldn't interrupt anything accidentally. That is the Toyota BZ4X.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. Good.
Purpose-built EV.
Yeah. Did you go to the New York Car Show?
I did. I was in New York. That's where I met up with the folks from BMW.
Nice. Thank you for interceding. I appreciate that.
No worries. They were giving us a preview of a car that they're going to publicly reveal next week.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
I am glad that I am not buying an EV until 2025, my next EV. And I might buy that. Usually we lease them. Might buy this one because I'm getting old and I'm thinking this might be my last car. So, because 10 years from now, I'll be...
By 2025, there will be a lot more choices.
Yeah.
There might be something you like better.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ID Buzz. I like... And Volkswagen's had some pretty good results with their EVs, right?
Yeah, the ID4 is really good. I
saw one the other day on the highway.
It had some challenges with its infotainment system. The software is a little laggy, but it has gotten better. They've done some OTA updates, and it will continue to improve, I think. They're aware of the issues, and they're working on it.
Yeah.
But the ID Buzz is really cool. It's kind of a modern take on the classic microbus.
Yeah.
And they're doing a pop-up camper version, like the West.
I know,
camper.
that'll be so fun.
Yeah. They haven't shown that publicly yet, but they have confirmed that
they
are
couple
in fact
years.
doing that.
Yeah, got a couple of years.
Yeah. So that'll be right. That should be available right around the time that you're ready to make a decision about what to do with.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there will be updated Mach-E's and other stuff too, and more stuff from GM and Stellantis and everybody else.
Exactly. But at this time, I should like to mention Wealthfront. It's so easy these days to get sucked into the stonks media and go out and buy GameSpot stock or AMC stock. And you see people making billions on Bitcoin. It's so easy to get sucked in by that. But that, my friends, please listen to me when I tell you, is not the right way to prepare for your future. It's fun. I'm not saying don't do it, but don't bet the rent money on it. Stock trading, it can be fun, But like casino gambling and eating street food, it should be done in moderation. That's all I'm going to say. I hope for your sake, and this is what I tell my kids, and when anybody asks me, you're stashing some safer money in a place like Wealthfront. Day trading is not the secret to life, and most day traders lose money over time. The truth is you need a strategy, and Wealthfront has a ton of data to show that time, and this is important, this is a great phrase, time in the market almost always beats timing the market. You try to time it when you say, what's the right time to buy? I'm going to buy low, sell high, right? But when is it low and when is it high? And how do you know? That's timing the market. You need a globally diversified portfolio that's automatically optimized to hit the goals you set and the risk level you choose. Where do you get that? Wealthfront. In fact, did you know they invented the software for tax loss harvesting? That's how you can get automatic tax breaks to boost your returns even if the market goes down. There's a whole scale of ways you can use Wealthfront. You can set it and forget it. Let them rebalance. Let them do all of that stuff based on your goals. Or you can pick portfolios with funds you want. A lot of people say, well, I want socially responsible funds, or I'd like to dabble in crypto, or maybe cannabis, or, and Wealthfront has a selection of funds, social responsibility, clean energy, cryptocurrency, so you can personalize your portfolio. Wealthfront has $27 billion in assets. 500,000 people use Wealthfront to build their wealth. Investopedia named them the best robo-advisor for 2022. So start building your wealth. Have fun if you want. Put $5,000 in. Right now, you can get it managed free forever. No fees, nothing. Wealthfront.com/techguy. WEALTH. That's the operative word. Wealthfront, FRONT. Wealthfront.com/techguy. Start building your wealth. Go to wealthfront.com/techguy. Get started today. Wealthfront.com/techguy. Thank you, Wealthfront. He's driving onto the lot in his low-slung Miata. Our car guy, Sam Abuelsamid. He's principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights, writes about the automotive industry and other things there, and, of course, has a great podcast called Wheel Bearings with Nicole and Robbie, two of my favorite people, along with Sam, and joins us every week to talk cars. Were you at the New York Car Show?
I did. Both Nicole and I were actually in New York this week for the auto show.
Fun.
Wednesday and Thursday.
I've heard of the Detroit Auto Show and the LA Auto Show. I don't remember. Is this new or is just I'm not paying attention?
No, New York Auto Show has been going on for, it's relatively new. I mean, it's only about 100 years old.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why. Yeah, I hadn't heard of it yet. Okay.
And it's not one of the shows that generally brings a whole lot of news announcements, new product announcements. It's lesser, somewhat lesser in that respect compared to LA and Detroit.
Yeah.
And this year more so than usual. But in general, auto shows as a media event have been shrinking, much like tech shows. Excuse me. Much like tech shows, automakers have learned the lessons from companies like Apple and Google and Microsoft and realized, we can put on an event of our own away from these trade shows, and we will have all the media attention on us for however long instead of just for a 20-minute time slot during the day. Right. And it'll cost us a lot less. Doing an auto show reveal is an extremely expensive event.
I think that's what happened to E3 this year, the big gaming show. None of the big companies came. So they said, never mind.
Like, for example, on Thursday, I was in New York, but I wasn't actually at the show. I was at another event getting a preview of a car that will be officially revealed next Wednesday. So we can't talk about that one yet. But I can maybe talk about that a little next week because there's some interesting stuff in there that you might be interested in.
Well, you're sitting right now in front of a newly announced car from Toyota.
Yeah, so this one, as with the other ones I was just talking about, Toyota actually announced this car back in November, a few days before the LA Auto Show, at an event in Encinitas, actually, and. In fact, I did the show. I did this segment from my hotel room in Encinitas.
Oh, that's right. That's why. Okay.
Yeah, and then I got a chance to drive this a few weeks ago. This is the Toyota BZ4X. Toyota co-developed this with Subaru, and Subaru has branded theirs as the Solterra. I think. I would recommend to people that go buy the Subaru instead because it's got a better name.
That's easier to pronounce. Toyota owns about 20% of Subaru. It's not. They're not. Yeah. But they have a joint venture in this car.
Yeah, they've been doing a number of joint projects. They've done a sports car together called the Toyota 86 and Subaru BRZ, which has
this looks like a Subi, actually, more than a Toyota.
It does look more like a Subaru.
Yeah.
And so this is the first purpose-built EV that either company has done. Toyota in the past has done a couple of battery electric versions of the RAV4. They did one in the late 90s, and then they did one in 2011, 2012 that they did with Tesla. They got Tesla to do the batteries and motors for that RAV4 EV. They only sold about 2,000 of those before they discontinued it. The BZ4X is going to be a more mainstream model. This is going to be a regular production model. BZ is Toyota's branding for, it means beyond zero. So they're going to be calling a bunch of their EVs BZ something. 4 indicates the size in the lineup, and then X is for crossover. So they'll have a variety of different vehicles.
Beyond zero, in other words, beyond zero emissions.
I guess, yeah. Something like that.
I don't know how you can go lower than zero, but okay.
It's a silly name, but I would prefer that all manufacturers get away from these silly alphanumeric names and just come up with something original.
I think my son Hank should have a Solterra. He loves Subarus. He's driving a Subaru right now. Yeah. I'm going to tell him Solterra. It's for you, man.
So these have a range of about 200, as much as 252 miles for the base version, base front-wheel drive version, and the all-wheel drive version with the 20-inch wheels, I think, is about 222, 224 miles of range. So it's not class-leading, but it's decent. It's sufficient for most people's needs, and it drives quite nicely. It's about the size of a RAV4. It's a couple inches longer than a RAV4, but similar in size. It's got Big Island is asking how big is the trunk. It's roughly about 25 cubic feet, so it's a pretty good sized cargo area. Plus, you can fold down the rear seats as well as you can with any crossover, and really expand that if you need to carry something larger. I said front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive versions. Both have roughly the same amount of power. And one of the questions that actually came up when we were recording wheel bearings earlier this morning was, why do front-wheel drive on an electric vehicle? Because the electric motors are so much smaller. In the past, we did front-wheel drive cars because you could turn the engine sideways. You could pack all of the powertrain components under the hood. You have the weight over the drive wheels, so you get better traction. And a lot of manufacturers have shifted back to doing rear-wheel drive with EVs like Hyundai and Volkswagen because you get a little better handling, a little better driving dynamics that way. But the downside of that, when you're braking, EVs rely a lot on regenerative braking. We've talked about this before because motors, when you put force into motors, it will generate electricity that goes back into the battery. So when any vehicle is braking, you get what we call weight transfer. You've no doubt experienced when you step on the brakes, the car kind of dives forward, noses down a little bit when you're braking, because I'm not going to go through all the physics, but basically weight shifts from the back to the front under braking and the opposite direction under acceleration. And if you have a rear-wheel drive EV, when you're unloading that rear axle, you can't do as much regenerative braking. When you do a front-wheel drive, you're putting weight on those front wheels. You can do more regenerative braking that way and recover more energy that you can put back into the battery, and then that helps your range.
Okay, so front's a good way to go.
It's one alternative. I mean, it depends on what your priorities are. Hyundai has managed to actually get better range than what Toyota and Subaru are doing, even with a rear-wheel drive car. So, it's all a matter of trade-offs, across the board.
I like, maybe I'm nuts, but I like the all-wheel drive, not off-roading four-wheel drive style, but just two motors, one on the front and one on the back. Yeah.
No, and that's a great solution, especially if you do sometimes experience poor traction conditions, whether you live in some place like Michigan where you get winter, or even just driving in the rain, or if you drive up into the mountains sometimes you might encounter some snow or ice. It's all-wheel drive can be very useful for that, and helps to distribute the power around. The other downside of front-wheel drive, especially with an EV like Lisa's Mini, is you can get some torque steer sometimes because electric motors have so much torque. If you try to accelerate while you're turning, you'll feel it tugging at the steering wheel sometimes.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a bad thing.
Okay, I'm just curious because I think she likes it. I feel like she wants to drift. She thinks she's drifting.
Well, you're not actually drifting in that case. You're actually probably going to be understeering.
Oh, okay.
I think what she's probably looking for is having the back end come around.
Yeah, she likes that
more of with a rear wheel drive.
She liked my old Mustang because she liked to take a hard turn and feel the back wheels go out from under her. I don't know why one would want that. But it's a thing, I guess.
It's fun. It's fun.
Depending on your definition. Sam Abuelsamid, thank you so much. Wheel Bearings, Media. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's fun. Not for me. When I was
your Mach-E can drift.
Can it?
Oh yeah, because you've got two motors, but the rear motor is more powerful than the front motor. So it's actually got a slight rear torque bias, so it's more like a rear-wheel drive, but it's still all-wheel drive. And when you're going around corners, if you go around corners quickly and you get on the accelerator as you're going through the corner, you can get the back end to come around a little bit. Not so much that it's going to be dangerous, but you can use the accelerator to help steer the vehicle.
Huh. I would have no idea how to do that, but I bet you Lisa will figure it out. Whenever Lisa says I'll drive, I go, oh, no.
Yeah.
And I find the handle real quick just to hold on. When I was buying that Mustang 10 years ago, she said, let me take it out for a test drive. You sit in the back. Oh,
or
Lord.
At least in the passenger seat. You don't want to sit in the back seat.
No, I was in the back, and it was
Did you really get in the back?
I got in the back. Well, I think there was somebody else with us, and she, because we have these nice, as you know, country roads that are pretty deserted, and you can have some fun out there.
Yeah, there's some great roads out your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam.
All right. So let's answer some more questions here.
Take it away.
All right. So Phoenix Warp dropped in a link to the Jeep Wrangler Magneto concept. This is actually the second year. Jeep every year for many years now has been doing a series of concepts for the Jeep Easter Safari, which they don't sponsor, they don't organize it, but it's an event put on by Jeep fans in Moab every year right around this time. And every year they build a bunch of different concepts, mostly to show off some of their aftermarket parts and, do something funny, or they'll do a resto mod with an old Jeep, just taking an old Jeep and putting some modern hardware in it. Last year they introduced something called the Wrangler Magneto, which was their first cut at a battery electric version of the Wrangler. And this year they've done an updated version of it. It's got more power, more battery. What's interesting, one of the things that's interesting about it is they retain the manual transmission from the Wrangler. Most EVs only have a single speed transmission, basically just a reduction gear to get it down from the speed of the motor down to the speed that the wheels need to be turning. They don't have multiple gears, but this Wrangler retains a 6-speed manual transmission. And they did that to make installation easier, and also to be able to get the really low gearing for rock crawling. When you're out in Moab, going over those trails, you want that that crawl ratio capability, and so that's what they can do by keeping the stock transmission and transfer case in that Magneto. And we can expect to see a production electric Wrangler probably in 2024 or 2025. Jeep has promised battery electric versions of every segment that they're in by 2025. So no later than 25, we'll see an electric Wrangler, and that'll probably be based on the next generation Wrangler. Let's see what else. Jeep at the auto show did reveal the long wheelbase version of the Wagoneer, their full-size SUV that launched last year, and now it's a full 12 inches longer, as if it wasn't already humongous enough. They stretched the wheelbase out and stretched out the body a little bit in the back. So you still have the same third seat leg room, but now you have 44 cubic feet of cargo space behind the rear axle, or behind the rear seats. So lots of room for all the stuff that you might want to bring along with your family.
Thank you, Sammy.
All right.
Have a good one. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Woo, woo. 8888. Ask Leo. The phone number on the line. Christian from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Hello, Christian.
Hello, Leo. Happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter. Thanks for calling.
I was on hold there for a little bit, and it was kind of fitting. I actually hand washed my car
while you were on hold. Very nice.
Yeah. So I listened to Sam go, so it was all very fitting. So
Perfect. And how's the car? What kind of car?
I drive a 2012 QX56.
Sam will probably know what that is. But
yeah, it's one of the bigger SUVs for Infiniti.
Nice and clean now.
It is. It's nice.
Very nice. There's something about hand washing here.
The snow's starting to melt, so it's
oh boy,
a bit more reasonable up here.
Oh boy,
yeah.
Spring is coming to Calgary. Nice. So what can I do for you?
Well, I built a gaming rig May 2020, and I put in a Ryzen 7 chip on a Asus Tough 48M, I say, or 450M motherboard. Mm-hmm. And just last week, there's no signal going to my monitor.
Oh man! Discrete. You've got I presume it's a gaming rig. You have an AMD or NVIDIA card in there, yeah? Yeah,
I have the RTX 2060.
Okay, very nice. That's a good gaming rig you got there.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the Game of War on it lately, and
nice.
I want to get back to it here.
So your monitor is just saying there's no signal coming to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I tested it with my laptop, and it picked up the signal from the HDMI, and then I went and bought a display cable to see if it was a graphics card port or something like that, and still no signal going.
So the bad news, it's the computer. Next thing to try, I presume this Asus motherboard has a built-in video adapter or built-in video plug as well. You know, you're using the NVIDIA card, but also on the motherboard, there should be motherboard video from Intel. Oh, I'm sorry, you have AMD. Yeah. So do you see anything on the motherboard video? And you changed it in the BIOS to make sure it's using that, right? Or even better yet, take out the NVIDIA card.
I took out the NVIDIA card.
Good.
I can't get the BIOS to come up.
Oh. Oh. Yee. Sounds like a dead motherboard or something.
Yeah, so I hit the internet a little bit, the boards a little bit this morning, and I'm actually just sitting in front of our local,
but let me ask you a couple of questions. Yeah. The fans come on?
Fans come on, LEDs come on, but there's no beep. And I was reading some Reddit threads.
So, yeah, that's called the power on self-test. And some motherboards, I don't know about this particular one, but most motherboards, if you're in a situation where they can't go any farther, they will beep a code to you saying, hey, we're having trouble here. I suppose it's possible if the motherboard's really, down and out, that it can't do that. It can't even get through the power on self-test. So there's two possibilities. Either everything's okay, it's just that maybe the video, I don't know. One other thing to try is booting from a USB key, make sure it's not a software issue, in other words. Put Linux on a USB key or a Windows installer and just see if you can boot up to that with a screen. Have you tried that? Yeah,
I wonder. Just because there's no power coming to the keyboard and mouse either.
Okay. So that's interesting. So here you have a situation where you don't have beeps from a power on self-test, which would tell you something's wrong, but at the same time, you're not getting power to the USB ports. You're not getting power to the video ports. Yeah, so it's a couple of possibilities. If you're lucky, it could be a damaged power supply, which is an easy and inexpensive thing to replace. Is it a laptop or a desktop? It's desktop, right?
Yeah.
So that's an easy thing to replace. If you're unlucky, it could be something wrong with the motherboard, in which case you have to replace the motherboard.
Yeah.
So you're sitting outside of a shop waiting for it to open, or?
They're open. I'm surprised, actually. They're
Easter, huh? Well,
that's nice.
Yeah. Gaming must go on.
But I read something about the Cmos Reboot, and I've never done that before.
Yeah.
As a last try. So that's the only thing I think that I haven't done. I've moved my RAM around. I've reseated all my power and my graphics card. And,
you've done all the important things to do. Yeah. For instance, if you took out all the RAM or a RAM module was, falling out or coming out, you get a power on self-test that would say beep 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 beep. I don't see any RAM. That's why those are there. I can't go past this point, but I can at least give you beeps. But maybe it could be so many things. The BIOS firmware might have failed. The firmware, that's stored in a chip. What if that UART died? Or something like that. So I think go ahead and try. Is it a jumper that you jump for the CMOS reset?
I was reading a thing where I have to pull the little silver battery out.
Pull out the battery. Okay. Sometimes there's a jumper, or sometimes there's a battery and a jumper. You could do that. I'd bring it in. I mean, if you like this shop, they're good, he'll have some diagnostic tools that he can use. He can immediately, for instance, see if it's a power supply issue.
Okay, I should have brought it with me.
Oh, you only brought, what'd you bring? Just the motherboard?
Well, no, I didn't bring anything. I was just
you just thought you'd drive over and talk to him, huh?
Yeah, I was going to talk to him.
Yeah, go get it.
Talk to you first.
He'll have the same conversation. But yeah, he could check the power supply voltage immediately if he's any good. He's got a voltmeter. So little things like that are probably the first thing I would check. The easy stuff, right? If it's the logic board, that's a tough thing to diagnose. But sometimes, I'm not sure about that motherboard that you have, but it's a modern one. Sometimes they have some onboard diagnostics. Some of them even have a screen on there that or a readout of some kind. So there might be some ways of telling that he knows. He's pretty good, this guy.
Yeah, they're a fairly big shop up here in Western Canada.
Okay. Yeah, you're lucky.
In our city.
You're lucky those are still around. For the most part in this country, you end up going to
I kind of feel that way too.
the Geek Squad at Best Buy and abandon all hope, ye who enter. Yeah. So it may be a new motherboard. It could be, it could be bad RAM, could be a bad CPU. Given the machine, the age of the machine, and the hard use you've given it, it could be the thermal paste in the CPU has given up hope, given up the ghost, and it could be as simple as repasting the CPU and then it will run. It could be all sorts of things. If CPU gets hot, and it can happen instantly on boot up, it'll stop everything. It'll say, nope, not going to go any farther. You don't want me to burst into flame, do you? So all of these...
That was one of the first things I was nervous of doing when building this rig. I hadn't done it since the 90s. And
did you paste it yourself? Did you do all of the...
I did.
Yeah.
So I was proud when it turned on, but in the back of my mind, I wondered, if I had a pro do that, seed it for me.
This is how you learn. This is how you learn. Yeah. So for folks who haven't done this, and that's probably 99.9% of you, your processor gets really hot. All those chips get really hot, but the processor especially. So what you do is you coat it with a very thin film of conductant paste. Sometimes it has silver in it, but it conducts heat, and then you attach to that your active cooling system, whether it's a fan. It could be actually liquid cooling, but you attach that to you want that conductor to do a good job conducting the heat from the processor into the cooling system. And if that paste goes bad, it sometimes does, or it was poorly pasted, that could easily be it too. But that's something a good shop should be able to look at and diagnose pretty quickly. So that's where I'd go next. Hey, happy Easter. Good luck. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Is it Memory Express? The guy in Edmonton is asking, is it Memory Express? Is that where you are?
Yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah. Nice. I'm very jealous that you have such a thing in your life. These guys started small here in Calgary, I think, and now they have really pretty significant shops. That's awesome.
And three locations in Calgary. I don't know how many are in Edmonton. I know they go out to Winnipeg and Manitoba.
So it operated fine until now.
Yeah. It just fully kicked
you didn't make any major mistakes. Do you? You do have a speaker on the attached to the motherboard so that you could hear the beep codes, right? Somebody in the chat room says you need a speaker. Okay.
Yeah.
I know when I put together computers, sometimes I go, I'm not going to connect all those things. Too many wires. Yeah. Hey, good luck. Let me know what happens.
I'm going to double check that. I'm going to double check a few things. I'm going to go in and just see how much info these guys will give me. I know they'll want to have a look at it, I'm sure.
They'll have a voltmeter, and that's the first thing they'll do is check the power supply, because those go out. That's not unusual.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Have a good one. I'm sorry that happened.
Hey. No worries. Thanks a lot, Leo.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All yours, Sammy.
Thank you, Leo. So let's see. Big Island in the chat was asking whether the Subaru is going to be all-wheel drive like the Outback. Yeah, the Subaru won't be available in the same configurations as the Toyota. So either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. They will have a front drive version, the lower cost version. Let's see. Someone was mentioning here about not being able to drift in front-wheel drive cars. Actually, it is possible, depending on the car and your level of skill. With the right combination of timing of the brakes, doing a little trail braking into a corner, you can get some front-wheel drive cars to drift if you get them going fast enough. It's a little more challenging. It's definitely easier in a rear drive car, but it's definitely possible. Let's see. Goodyear would appreciate your drifting. Yes, that is the downside of drifting. Is it does tend to give you a little more excess tire wear. Oh yeah, it was Web 3047 talking about rear wheel drive for drifting. PC Guy 8088 said liberal application of the parking brake in ICE vehicles will help. Yeah, that's true. That's certainly true with front wheel drive cars. You probably don't want to do that with rear wheel drive cars, and increasingly on all new cars, it's actually hard to use the parking brake for something like drifting, because most vehicles are shifting towards electric parking brake systems. So you don't have a mechanical lever you can pull up. There's just a switch on the center console that you pull up on, and it will electrically activate the rear brakes for the parking brake. So you can't really use that in the way you would traditionally use, the manual parking brake system. Maverick 56 mentioned the Mercedes-Benz EQS having a range of 485 miles. That range is actually based on the European driving test cycle, which is a little more, less realistic in terms of the numbers that you get from it. On the EPA driving cycles, the EQS is rated at 350 miles, which is still very good. But it's considerably lower, and it's much more representative of the real-world driving range that you would get with the EQS. The EQS is Mercedes' current top-of-the-line EV. It's their full-size luxury sedan. They also just recently announced the EQE, which is their mid-size model. Looks very similar to the EQS, but it's a little smaller. Let's see. Eric Duckman says, you actually need to drive closer to the limit if you're not generating any appreciable slip angle. You'll never notice these things. He's absolutely right. You do have to really push it to get a lot of these vehicles to drift, especially on street tires. Mike B mentioned $136,520 for an electric BMW. Don't think I'll be getting one ever. Yeah, that price I think is for the iX M60, which is their current top of the line EV, for now at least. Tina asked in the chat, what is more important in an inevitable crash, computer safety technology or structure of the vehicle itself? I would say that both are equally important. The safety systems, the active safety systems, can help in trying to avoid or mitigate the impact of a crash. So if you've got sensors that can tell you, enhance your situational awareness or automatically intervene for things like automatic emergency braking, you can help avoid a crash or at least reduce the speed of the impact. So that reduces the amount of energy in the crash. But when the crash happens, then you want the structure of the vehicle to protect vehicle occupants from getting injured. So it's really a combination of both. And enormous progress has been made on both of these counts over the last 50-odd years since we started imposing modern federal motor vehicle safety standards. If you look online on YouTube, you can find videos of modern vehicles being crashed with older vehicles, or just look for videos of older vehicles being crash tested, and you will see how bad even old full-size cars that people would think, oh yeah, this thing's got so much space, it's going to protect me. No, they don't. They actually were not very good, those older vehicles from the 1950s and 60s and 70s. Even small cars today are so much better. There's a video that Mercedes-Benz put out some years ago showing a crash test of the little Smart 4.2, their little mini car, two-seat mini car, against a modern E-Class sedan, their mainstream midsize, that's their highest volume product. And it's a significantly larger car than the Smart. And the structure of the Smart was such that it protected the occupants. And also because the car was so light, it actually bounced away from the crash. So even though it doesn't have a whole lot of crush zones in it, it bounced away and was still able to protect the occupants. Let's see. Tech Dino asks, where are we soon going to be using technology without rare earth elements for the batteries? So rare earth metals are actually not used so much in the batteries, but rather in the motors. They're used for the magnets. Things like neodymium are used for the permanent magnet motors. Some companies are doing motors. There's basically two types of AC motors. There's AC induction motors, which don't have magnets in them, and those don't have any rare earth metals in them. And then there are the permanent magnet motors, which are actually more efficient, more energy efficient. So they convert more energy into torque than AC induction motors do. So it's a trade-off, whether you want efficiency or rare earths. If you go without the rare earths, you're going to use more energy to do the same amount of work, which means you're going to need a larger battery to get the same range out of it. So most companies are sticking with permanent magnet motors now, but trying to make them even more efficient. So they require less of the rare earth metals. Speaking of batteries, there was a question about the number of batteries are going to be required. Where are we going to get all these batteries? That was from Web 3047. A lot of the materials that go into the batteries are actually fairly readily available, and one of the things that's happening right now is we're expanding mining and processing of these batteries and localizing it. So, for example, currently most of the lithium for batteries is mined in South America and Australia, processed in China, but there's lithium everywhere on the planet. It just hasn't been economically viable. There hasn't been enough demand to develop the mining of it in other countries, and that's starting to happen now. So that's one part of the equation. Then the other part is recycling. Modern recycling processes for batteries can recover about 95 to 98% of those key materials needed for the batteries, and so it's going right back into the production stream, so you don't have to use virgin materials from the ground.
My friend, have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
And I will see you
next week.
Next time. Thanks, Sam.
All right.
Bye. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. Everything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. 888-827-5536. We'll see what we can do here to help you out. TechGuyLabs.com is the website. That's a good thing to keep in mind, because if I mention something, a story or a product or a link of any kind, we'll put those up there on the website, TechGuyLabs.com, and audio and video from the show after the fact as well. And it's free. There's no sign up. There's nothing. Let's see. Jerry in Los Angeles is next. Hi, Jerry. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Neil. I have a new laptop.
Yay. Sorry.
Yeah, really, yay. Other than I'm really happy with my old laptop.
Okay. So why'd you get a new one?
I think my display went out. I'm not quite sure.
Oh, you needed it. Okay.
It's kind of old, 2016, but it was an i7 that
2016 ain't that old. 6 years old. Yeah. Okay.
So anyhow, I got a new one, and it has Windows 11 Home on it.
Yeah.
And on my previous computer, which was a Sony laptop, I had Windows Pro on it.
Okay.
Is there any way to get that license on a new computer?
It costs you $130, but yeah. All you have to do, it's actually in the settings. There's an upgrade, and you would just give them some money, and they would upgrade you. You'd download some files. Why do you want Pro, out of curiosity? Because for most people, the features of Pro, really, they're more for business. Is there something specific you miss?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Trust me, there's not.
But that's okay.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind paying for it. So you want to know if you could take the license. Somebody in the chat room said, "Oh, you're not listening, Leo. He wants to take the license off his old computer." Is that what you're saying?
I just said that. as a way of, I don't know how you do it. Just,
yeah, you can't. I mean, it's associated with that license associated with that computer, the 2016 computer. Although, it's an interesting question. Windows 10 and 11 are essentially a free upgrade for Windows 7. I presume that's what's on the old, or is it a Windows 10 computer?
I think I got it upgraded to Windows 10 before I lost it.
Yeah. That's interesting. Maybe you can transfer it. There's, if you look at, you could go, Microsoft has a little chart, the differences between home and pro. The differences are really something most home users don't care about. Things like being able to log onto a corporate network. The one thing you might care about is BitLocker, the ability to encrypt the hard drive. That frankly, Microsoft should be part of all versions of Windows. I'm surprised they don't put that in. But
yeah.
Yeah. Other than that,
good.
Yeah. I wonder if there is a way. Do you have the serial number from your old Windows 10 Pro?
I don't have it in front of me, but yes, I have it.
Yeah, it might be on the case or somewhere. If you haven't, you might try.
I have the original sticker that was on it.
Yeah, it'll be on that sticker. Generally, depends on how you got Windows on that thing. If you bought it with the computer, it's tied to the computer.
Yeah, I did buy it with the computer.
Yeah, okay. I'm still going to put, because Scooter X found a little article on how to transfer it over if you can. It might be worth just entering in the numbers just to see if it would take it.
Yeah.
And then you get your stuff. There's a command line, SLMGR, which stands for something license manager. SLMGR. There's a command line that you can enter it in and see if, at least it will take it. It might. You never know. If it does, then you don't have to pay for it. Otherwise, an upgrade to Pro is something you pay for. I honestly don't think most people would care. Is it just you want to feel like I got the best? I got the top of the line.
I've had Windows Pro or whatever version ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
And I think it's just momentum.
Yeah, momentum. You don't get BitLocker device encryption. You don't get Windows Information Protection, WIP, WIP, which is mostly, it's an enterprise security thing. I'm going to put a link in the show notes just so that you can look at the differences. They're very, very minor. Mobile device management, group policy, enterprise state roaming with Azure, assigned access, dynamic provisioning. These are all for businesses. You don't want that. In fact, you really don't want that on your system. Kiosk mode, support for Active Directory. You don't need that. That's all professional stuff. So don't feel bad. Just because it says home doesn't mean you're not a pro. Because, my friend, you are a pro. I could tell, Jerry.
Oh, thank you.
How do you like Windows 11's look?
I'm getting used to it. I don't have any trouble navigating.
Yeah. It puts the start menu in the middle, which some people don't like. There is a switch. You can turn that off.
It doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me either. I think it's actually pretty. It's got rounded corners. Yeah. It's basically Windows 10 with a paint job. That's all.
It's like a familiar format because other programs use a similar format with the controls all right at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good. So stick with it. The only thing that I think, and I really wish Microsoft would include this in all versions of Windows, is that full disk encryption, the thing they call BitLocker. And I think the reason they don't is because it's easy to get in trouble with BitLocker. As a home user, if you don't know what you're doing, you can actually lock up your drive and lose access to it. And I'm thinking that's probably why they don't make it available to everybody, but they should. Yeah. All Macs come with built-in hard drive encryption, and in fact, it's turned on by default on all modern Macs. I think that's the right thing for privacy and security, but that's Microsoft. Yeah. They get to do what they want to do. So I'll put a link in the show notes to how to enter your license code just to see if it works, and I'll put a link in the show notes comparing Windows 10 Home versus Pro so you can see you're not missing a thing. How about that?
Thank you.
Enjoy. What did you get? What's your new computer?
It's a Dell
Nice.
i5.
Very nice.
16 gig of RAM,
Good.
SSD.
I think and it feels faster, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That SSD alone makes a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Good.
I'd upgraded my other one to an SSD.
Yeah. Oh, you know what you're doing then. If you've done that, you know what you're doing. That's brain surgery. Well, it's a pleasure talking to you, Jerry. I think you're golden, but we'll put those links in if you care to mess around with it.
Okay.
Have a great one. Happy Easter or Passover or whatever you celebrate. I feel like this is like the spring. It's like spring, right? It feels a little springy outside. It's cool still, but the sun is shining. It's pretty. It's nice. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. If you want to talk high tech, I'm here for you. 888-827-5536. And as I mentioned, the show notes are free, open to all at techguylabs.com. Techguylabs.com. I want you back, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Jim on the line from Wasalia, Alaska. I think AK is Alaska. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Wasilla. You're from Wasilla. Home of Sarah Palin.
You got it.
I know Wasilla.
Yeah. I think you've been up here once.
Yes. How's things?
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
I go back to the site with you guys.
Oh, wow. Long time.
Long time.
Many moons ago, although those were glory days. They were fun.
I put up the Dev Null fan page on Facebook.
No. Thank you. Thank you. As the man who knew Dev intimately.
Yeah.
I thank you. What can I do for you today?
I've got an older Vizio HD TV, a 55-inch, and it's an older model. It's not the HD. It's not the high def. It's not the high dynamic range or any of that stuff. It's not 4K. So it's an older one. And I think last year that I got an over-the-air software upgrade.
Yeah.
On the Vizio system.
Not unusual. Yeah.
And since then, I'm getting an error message when I start my TV, and it won't decode the video. So I think it's something to do with the HDCP.
Oh, the copy protection.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just that I need to upgrade my HDMI cables or what, because I use a Roku, and it's plugged into one of the HDMI ends on the back.
So the Roku is HDCP compliant. I imagine the TV is. It might be the cable. You literally have to have an HDCP compliant cable. Is that ridiculous?
I'm thinking that may be it because it's probably an older cable I got years ago.
Yeah. What makes you think it's copy protection?
Well, I get a code that it says repower your Roku and then repower the TV.
Yeah.
So you have to unplug the power cord and reboot.
Yeah. It could be that. Does it ever work?
Yeah. And now all I really have to do is repower the TV, reboot the TV module and unplug the power cord, plug it back in, and then start everything up, and then it decodes. Okay.
So it may not be copy protection, because if it were copy protection, it wouldn't get better unless it's poorly done, which of course all copy protection is. But it sounds like it's a handshake issue, and a cable might fix it anyway.
Right.
So get a new HDMI 2.1 cable. You won't. I mean, the TV doesn't require it, nor the Roku might support it. But at least you'll have the fastest cable you can get, and see if that helps.
Because every time you start up the TV,
you don't want to reboot.
Message, you got to go up and unplug the power cord and let the pilot light go.
Go to monoprice.com. Get an HDMI 2.1 cable. They're $10. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Because I wasn't using the TV for a couple of weeks, and I think I got an over-the-air software upgrade. Because then, ever since
nice upgrade, folks. Nice.
Yeah,
you broke it.
Since then, I just get it's a warning thing. It says try this. And
I would check firmware on the Roku and on the TV. What it almost certainly is, and this is a problem, and rebooting will fix it, is a handshake issue. Because what happens is the Roku negotiates with the TV. Well, what can you handle? What can you handle? What do you got? I don't know. What do you got? And they then decide, just like the old days of modems, That's what all that was negotiation. Handshaking, we call it. And the handshake sometimes fails. It's not unusual. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's a video handshake issue.
Yeah. And so, and I did go into the versions, and I've got, it says software checkup, and it says you're on the latest versions, both for the Roku and the TV.
Yeah. I would at least try a new cable.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
HDMI cables, I've had them go bad, which seems impossible, right? I mean, it's a cable. What can go bad? But I've had issues with HDMI cables. My poor kid, he's trying to play Elden Ring, He's taken on Melania, the worst of the bosses. She's a nightmare on this game. And all of a sudden, the TV starts flickering purple. So what's going on? Is that a new attack? No, it's the HDMI cable. I said, I got some new ones. Let me try it. I went and I like Cable Matters. That's there's some companies that do a better job than other companies. Cable Matters on Amazon, I found good results with them. So I got 3 Cable Matters HDMI cables, replaced it. Works. It's fine. Still can't beat Melania, but, he's working on it. That's a hard game. Rod in Los Angeles. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Rod.
Howdy. So I have a couple-year-old HP laptop, and I started getting this message that said to update the Windows 10 to version 21H2.
Yes.
And it also says my version of Windows has reached the end of service.
Yes.
Whenever I try to update this, it just gives me this. There were problems installing.
Oh, nuts. Oh, I hate Microsoft. I hate them so much. I hate them with a passion that burns like the flame of hell. So, so even though you have the latest version of Windows, 10 it's still technically, good until 2025.
Right.
They've done this weird thing where if you don't have the latest version of Windows 10, you're out of date. So December 14th, version 2004 died. That was the update that you got in the spring of 2020. Coming up in May, in about a month, version 1909 will die. I don't know why it's dying later, but it is. Figure it out. I don't know. It's Microsoft. So, and then December 8th, 2020, version 1903 died. So you need to get a full update. If you can't do it in place, and that's not unusual, then another way to do it is to try downloading the update fully from the update page. And it takes
Microsoft's update?
Yeah, you can actually download it, put it on a USB key, and try it that way. And sometimes that'll work where a update download in place update doesn't. So that's the first thing to try. I'll put a link in the show notes to an article on how to. The reason they do this is if you're an IT person and you got 20 machines that you need to update, you don't want to have to go on each machine and download it. So you just download it once and you go from machine to machine, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's sometimes it's called I think the network update or something like that. It's designed for business, but anybody can get it. So I'll give you a link to that, and then if that doesn't work, then you really do need to do this, partly because it's going to complain about it, but also partly because you're not going to be secure. You haven't been secure for a while. When's the last update? Did you have 2004?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
It was basically, I think it was like last summer or fall that this started coming up. And immediately wouldn't update.
That's exactly it. That's right. But you can't update. So isn't that frustrating?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a link here to an article, How to Update Windows 10 Offline. It has 2 different methods. You can either get a PC repair tool to do it or download it from Microsoft on a USB key. I would at least try that. If not, you're going to have to I hate to say this, reinstall Windows using the latest version. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This is one of the reasons I'm not a fan of Microsoft.
I find the notes on your
Yeah, techguylabs.com. But I can kind of tell you. There's they call it the portable update. Wait a minute. No, that's not it. That's not what you want. Hold on. I haven't done this in a while. I'm looking online. Offline update. WSUS offline update. I think this is where you do it. I think this is, no, darn it. That's not it. A lot of these Google results are giving me, oh, you just need to download our free software. No, thank you. That's not what I want. 21H1 using the media creation tool. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So I'm going to put this, basically the deal is you go Google Windows Media Creation Tool. This is a Microsoft site. And you can download the latest version. And when you run the installer, you're going to run it on a USB key. It will give you an option to upgrade. And often those are more reliable than trying to download an upgrade in place.
Okay.
So basically, that's the short version. I'll put a link in the show notes to an article that describes how to do this at techguylabs.com.
Hey, I'm on Tech Guy Labs. How do I find the show notes?
1886. Well, they're not there yet because it'll take a day to get them up there.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. Nobody's writing right now. James used to do that, but we've changed the whole system now. So,
okay.
Unfortunately, I had to do that. But so basically, if you Google Windows Media Creation Tool, you can download the latest version of Windows 10, put it on a USB key, run the installer by booting the USB key, and then it'll say, oh, you already have it. Do you want me to upgrade? And you say, yes, please.
Got it.
And then the advantage of doing that is if it doesn't work still, well, you can install Windows from it, but do back up everything first.
Well, fortunately, this is not my main computer.
Yeah.
I've got it networked to a bigger computer, which, by the way, roughly the same age, and it downloaded the update fine. So I don't know why. Yeah, sometimes what happens is if a portion of the update fails, it blocks, and that's what's happened. At some point, an update failed, and now you're blocked. There are also, you can Google this, ways to unblock blocked updates. That might be another way to route to go around it. Got it.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
I hate Windows. I'm sorry. Have I told you that recently? Yes. Chris, I hate Windows. I hate it.
I haven't used Windows. I'm very conveniently able to say now, after many years of not using it, to anyone who asks me for support that, sorry.
I don't know. That's what I wish I could say. I don't know anything about it.
I don't even know how to switch it.
I don't know anything about it. Windows, what's that?
Well,
I keep one version of Windows just to stay in touch with the real world.
And I'm saying this using something on the Mac that wasn't originally made for the Mac, like OBS, for example, as a video switcher.
Right.
Which does admittedly run quite a bit better on Windows, but it's good enough now. So I was close to running a virtual machine or something just for OBS. But I decided to not do that.
I have a Windows boot partition on my PC at home.
I mean, you have to. I
have to. Kills me every time, though.
And I feel so bad for you.
Oh, God. All right. I have the pictures of very expensive things.
Me too.
These are fun.
Me too.
These are fun. I like them. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Mama, don't take my Kodachrome away. That means it's time for our film guy, Mr. Chris Marquardt, my personal photo sensei at sensei.photo. Hello, Chris Marquardt.
Hi, Leo. Kodachrome is unfortunately a thing of the past.
They tried.
Very sad.
They tried to keep it around as long as possible.
But it was really complex, a really complicated way to develop it, and you needed to send it in because the corner lab couldn't do it, so they'd have to send it to a special place and big machinery. They actually had to hire chemists to keep the chemistry in good condition.
So what you're saying is Kodachrome is the Windows of photography.
Not necessarily, because Kodachrome was really beautiful. The way it rendered the colors, the contrast, and everything is just amazing. A lot of very famous photographers wear Kodachrome shoots.
In fact, now you can get Kodachrome filters for your digital photography.
Yeah, it's not quite the same though.
No. So it has been 4 weeks since you issued our last assignment. We have received some wonderful photos. Thank you, everybody. And expensive. So let's find some expensive pictures.
Yes. So I have, again, gone through the whole list. So let me bring them up on the screen here. To the whole list of pictures, all the wonderful submissions here. And I have chosen 3 to talk about. The first one is by Ron Hikes, 816, titled "Just Another NYC View." And it's a very unassuming black and white kind of picture. It's of a couple of tall buildings, skyscrapers, one of them being kind of New York style, the other being one of the more modern, I don't know what they call them, pencil buildings, like really thin, high towers.
I think that's 422 Park West. I'm not sure, but that's a famous horrible skyscraper.
I'm also not a great fan of them, but the photo I think is nice because you have the all the detail in the sky. So there's the clouds. It's not really sunny weather, but good job, Ron, for keeping the structure in the sky. And then it's shot through, probably from Central Park, I'd guess, and it's shot through trees. So you have this frame of trees around the entire picture, and the buildings are shot through the hole in the trees, which gives them a really nice place to sit in the picture. I'm always about giving subjects a good place to sit in a picture, and the frame really does that well. So in this case, it's tree branches, and the ones that you get in fall or in winter with not much greenery on them, so you can actually look through them. So I like that.
And it is expensive. I'm sure that's $8 or $9 million for an apartment in that. So
probably, yeah.
Expensive is the word.
Second one.
Yes.
Yeah, second one. Vibeke Fries took a product shot. So what she did is she took a picture of an expensive watch and probably an expensive perfume. I'm not a perfume specialist, but it's Bulgari, both the perfume bottle and the watch. And it's one of those things. I've just spent a lot of time doing kind of product type shots lately because we're working on the film photography book, and that needs new photos. So it looks like just thrown on the table, but it's actually quite a lot of work to arrange a shot. There's a red flower behind the perfume shining through the bottle. And lighting something like that and staging it well and making sure that it doesn't look too artificial, but also looks kind of easy and not fake or not too arranged. That is not so easy. It takes some time to get everything right. So good job on that. Good job. I once took a picture of for the film photography book of film rolls on a table, and they were supposed to look very like accidentally thrown on the table. It took me like 2 hours to set that up, so it looked really it looked like it was like an accident. So these kind of things take time. And the third one, yes, Demilente Viper, and well, that is expensive. What we're looking at is shot of gasoline going into a car. I like the way, let's stay with the photographic side of it. I like the way this is framed because it's a bit of an oblique angle there, and it's also the way the sharpness is distributed in the picture. It's almost like a tilt lens where parts of the picture that are normally in focus are not. So the focus is kind of a diagonal sliver of focus going through that picture, and it's the hose and the whatever the pistol thing that you have in front of, I don't know the term.
The nozzle, we call that.
The nozzle, that's it. Yeah, I did know the term. I blanked out at it. And yeah, it's kind of.
I think it's the most expensive picture in the bunch, actually. Holy moly!
But if we continue that way, then this.
How much is gas in Germany now per liter?
I don't.
Oh, you have an electric vehicle.
Yeah, but we had gas prices over €2 a liter, which is a liter is like a quarter of a gallon.
Yeah, so it's roughly $9 a gallon.
$7 to $8 dollars a gallon, something along those lines. And so that's just the way it is right now.
Yeah, so, I have a calculator. I took a calculator out to figure out how many. Your gas is more expensive than ours.
Oh, it's always been more expensive than
$8.19 a gallon. We're a mere $6 a gallon. It still hurts. Actually, that's in California.
It's a bargain.
Yeah, it's a bargain at any price. So it's time to go to the fishbowl, kids. Thank you for your excellent, expensive submissions. Those were all fantastic.
And here's my expensive fishbowl. And I have it filled with a whole bunch of adjectives on little scraps of paper. And I'm drawing one blindly. And here it is. Oh, I like this one. Elegant.
Elegant. Wow. There we
go.
Well, you could bring back 222 Central Park South. That would work, but I think we want a new picture this time, right? That's the idea.
I think so too.
Because really, it's all about getting out there and taking images. It's not. There's no contest. There's no prize. It's just the idea of having a reason to go out and take pictures. You're going to look for something elegant, something representing the word elegant. You can be, flexible on this. It's just a concept. And then when you find something you like, you can submit up to one image a week to our Tech Guy group on Flickr.com. Renee Silverman, our moderator, will welcome you. Make sure you tag it, though, as you do with photos on Flickr. In this case, TG Elegant for Tech Guy Elegant. And then in about 4 weeks, Chris will look them over and pick 3 out. Everybody now, let's all go out there and take pictures of something elegant. That's one of my favorite words.
Picture.
Or the picture could be elegant.
Maybe the picture itself can be very elegant.
The person could be elegant. It could be, we're not going to specify.
Elegant photographer.
Yeah. When I write a really nice piece of computer code, I think it's elegant. Most others would disagree.
Camera.
Or a camera.
So many possibilities.
Chris Marquardt is a photo sensei. His website, sensei.photo, where you could sign up for photo coaching. He does photo workshops, soon back on the road with travel workshops, I hope. Also,
working on it.
A number of great books, including a book on wide-angle photography and a soon-to-be-updated book on film photography, and the oldest and best photography podcast out there, Tips from the Top Floor, tfttf.com. Did I get it all there, Chris?
I think you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Always a pleasure. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. And remember, folks, it's all about elegant. Elegant. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls coming up right after this. Thank you, my friend.
I just realized that next week...
Oh, not going to be here. Okay. That's okay.
Because that is the first time in ages that I'm taking a week off.
So only $21 million for a unit in that building, says Mike.
Oh, 21.
That's nothing. Nothing.
No, next Sunday I'll be up at the North Sea and probably...
Oh, fun.
Among sheeps or something like that.
Is that a photography thing or just you enjoy it?
It's just it's actual vacation. Monica and I are taking a week off.
Good. All right. Well, have a great vacation. Wow, what a thought. That's a concept.
And right now the weather's clearing up. The numbers are going down a bit, so it feels like we have to get out.
Yeah, good.
Too much being inside.
I know the feeling. Well, enjoy.
Yeah, so I should be back on the 1st of May.
Quite all right.
That's what it's looking like.
Quite all right. We'll talk to you on the 1st of May.
All right. See you then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Take care. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. Rick on the line from Long Beach, California. Hello, Rick.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How's it going?
Well, what can I do for you? Because I think you might have a problem.
Yeah, it's a desktop. Every time I try to get on to your show. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm always in the middle of something, but this time I don't have to go to a meeting back to work. But I've been listening to you for a long time.
The Easter Bunny's outside knocking on the door. He wants to give you some chocolate bunnies. Get in there.
No, I think everybody just wants to hit the bars before we go to our family's house. No, but just kidding. But,
no, you're not. No, you're not. So what's the problem?
So I have an HP desktop. It's not that old. I think it's Windows 10. It might be. It's like 5 years old. Some things in life changed, and I ended up moving in with my fiance now, and I didn't use it, and I forgot my password for it.
Oh,
and it's a good system. And unfortunately, about 6 months ago, I lost my mom.
Oh.
And on my computer, I have so many pictures.
And you want those pictures, of course.
Yes, that's the only. I mean, I could care less about the system anymore because I did listen to your show, and I did buy a HP laptop, which I love.
Oh, they're nice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the student kinds. I love it.
Oh, good.
Never go back. But so what can I do, sir? What do you think?
So the first question is, when you signed into that computer the first time, you may not remember, did you use a Microsoft account to log in?
No.
You did not. Nowadays, by the way, Microsoft's forcing you to use a Microsoft account. The latest versions of Windows 11 will not allow you to create what we call a local account. You'll have to use your Microsoft account. And one of the reasons for this, I would say the chief reason, is you. Because if you forget your password and it's a Microsoft password, you have recourse. You can go to them and get a new password. There's even a reset your password button underneath the login, as there is, on many websites and stuff. But if you used a local password, well, first thing to do is see if there's an I forgot button, okay? When you try to log in. Because in that case, even if you used a local password, it's associated with a local account. There was a moment in the sign-up process where you get to choose whether you'll be able to recover that password through a Microsoft account. So if you did that, cross your fingers. Again, Microsoft can recover it for you. They'll ask you some security questions. They'll reset your password. If none of that is the case, then you can do. Then there are some additional steps. There's Microsoft account recovery. If you have a Microsoft account associated with it, basically the Windows 10 login password is not fully secure. So there are ways to get around it. It's really going to depend on how you created that password. So I'll put a link in the show notes on how to reset a forgotten Windows 10 password, an article from PC Magazine, because it's many different steps. And then if none of that applies, you're not sitting in front of it right now, I take it?
No.
Yeah. So
I do this too. HP come out, it was great with the two big monitors. It was awesome.
Oh yeah. You want to get into it, whether you need it or not, and especially for those photos. There's a good chance, unless you encrypted the drive, and most people don't, that those photos are visible and you could pull the drive out of the machine, access the hard drive, and then pull those photos out. So unless you turned on encryption or whatever, you're probably still all right. But let's get you logged into the machine. So
yeah, it was still good. I used it at home.
Sure. You got two monitors. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are various ways of recovering, because this is probably, I'm going to guess, Microsoft's number one thing that comes up is
I'm not a big Microsoft guy anymore.
I get a lot of calls from people. I forgot my password. It's very common. It's very common. So this article from PC Magazine, I just put a link in the chat room, and they'll put it up in the show notes. It gives you a whole bunch of options, more than I would take me the rest of the show to go through all the different pages of ways to do this. If worst case scenario, none of that works, they even mention some other tricks you can try, including offline. I think somebody will mention this in the comments. Offline password recovery, basically brute force hacking. Programs like PassGeeker, Windows password recovery, things like that. So let's put it this way. It's not the most secure thing in the world. Chances are when you set it up, you did some things that would make it easy to get it back. Even if you didn't, at some point, you're going to be able to get in using a variety of, Pogostick.net has a tool. There's a lot of little tools to get in because it's such a common problem. But we'll start with this. We're going to put on the show notes, techguylabs.com. This is episode 1886. But you could also Google PC Mag, how to reset a forgotten password in Windows 10. And there's a very nice article, just updated actually, about 5 days ago. So
I'm glad I'm not the only dummy that did this.
it's the most, literally the most common question I get.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I don't feel too bad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I've had people say, you're done, dude. You need a new one. Or
No. And as I said, even with all of that, if you still can't get in, you could pull the hard drive out and get those photos off. Those photos are not lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. Yeah. Every time I FaceTime my mom now, I take some screenshots. I miss her. We're going to go back and see her, but I miss her. And I bet you miss your mom terribly. So it's nice to have those pictures. Yeah.
Exactly, sir. Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Rick. Have a good day. Happy Easter. Don't get too drunk before you see your family. That's also a recipe for death.
I have to go to the bars before I see my sisters. That's the one.
just one drink, not too many. You don't want to get in a fight or anything. David is next from Simi Valley, California. Hi, David.
Hi, how you doing, Leo?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing great now that I'm on the phone with you.
Yay. What's up? What's happening in your world?
Okay, not a whole lot. Beautiful day today, but I'm having some struggles with regards to my my internet speed, and I wanted to bounce it off of you and get some feedback from you on it.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can mention the service provider.
Yes, name names. We name names here.
All right, so it's going to be Spectrum.
Okay.
And the plan that I'm signed up for is, which I understand, up to 1 gig megabits per second.
That's 1,000 megabits. Bits, by the way, M lowercase BPS. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So when I last tested it, which was earlier today, wired, I'm getting 913.44, which is great.
That's about as good as you're going to get, by the way, on wired. You never get that full. There's always overhead. So that's good, yes.
Absolutely. So I'm happy with that. But here's the issue I'm having. Wirelessly, I am dropping from that 913 wired, which I understand, but I'm dropping down to literally just over 100 wirelessly in the house.
Yeah, that's too low. So
what I did to remedy this, or at least I thought I was going to remedy this, I should have called you first. I decided on a mesh system. So I picked up 2 satellites and a router for a mesh, hoping to improve that. I literally only improved it to about 130.
No, that's not very good.
No.
So normally with Wi-Fi, it is not going to be as fast as wired. But I would say if you're getting 913 wired, you should be getting a 500 or 600 at least on Wi-Fi.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really too low. So there are a few things that go on with Wi-Fi. The first thing to do is go stand right next to the router. I presume you've done that. And you're still only getting 100.
Well, now I'm getting a little more than 100. I got 400 standing next to
me. Okay. So that's probably, that's limited by other things, including the Wi-Fi card in your computer and your phone. 400's fine. 400, you're getting as much bandwidth as you're probably going to get. We're going to take a break. I will talk with you off the air. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So that's the first issue, of course. So we know that a lot of the attenuation is caused by distance and barriers. Right. So if you get 400 when you're standing next to the thing, I mean, yeah, you probably would like to get 500 or 600, but 400 is pretty good. And honestly, a lot of devices can't go faster than 400. It's not that they can't see more than 400. There are various issues with, the Wi-Fi card itself, the hardware, and so forth. So, but 400 is good, and it means really that the biggest drop-off is caused by distance and barriers. So, a couple of things we could do. Now, your mesh system, which one did you get?
I am using, give me 1 second, Orbi.
Oh, good. Orbi's very good. And when you set it up, the beacons is what they call those, or they call them satellites, I guess. The satellites.
Yeah, satellites.
Yeah. You made sure that they got the green light, that they're seeing the base and all of that.
Yes.
Okay. Because Orbi is among the fastest mesh systems out there. Reason being, they have they're tri-band, and they use a fourth band for the back channel, so it's really fast. That's disappointing. It means, in all likelihood, is it an older building?
It was built in 1980, and we just moved into it.
Okay. If there's metal in the walls, the other thing, that can cause a problem. The other thing you're going to want to try is the base station of the Orbi high? You want to get it as high as you can above the heads of humans, because humans are big bags of water. They attenuate the signal as well. So seriously, you're laughing, but it's true. And so any living thing in between the Orbi base station and the Orbi satellites is also going to attenuate the signal. So move the Orbi higher up. If you've got, they may have built it with steel in the wall, or mesh in the, drywall does not slow down Wi-Fi much. But if there's something else, if there's metal in there, could be. So, and the idea of a mesh system is, if you can get those satellites, maybe move those satellites. First of all, move the base station up, move those satellites closer, and maybe get another one, because it's attenuating by distance. So if the satellite is closer to the base station and can get a higher throughput. The other thing is, try it on a variety of devices. Do you have a late model iPhone or something like that?
I'm an Android guy, so.
Which Android are you using? Late model Samsung?
Yes, I have a late model Samsung.
Okay, those will probably have the best Wi-Fi receivers in them. So use that for your speed test. The good news on Android, there are a number of really excellent Wi-Fi signal measurement programs, which will help you quite a bit. Wi-Fi Analyzer is the one I use.
Okay.
So those are free. You can download that, and then you can wander around and watch the Wi-Fi signal get weaker and weaker and weaker. So you can actually use that to tune it. How many satellites do you have?
I have 2.
That's a lot. And it's how big a house?
2,200 square feet.
Boy, you should have excellent coverage even with just one.
Yeah.
So something's in the way.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to raise it up, because I didn't consider that. And so as soon as you said that, I thought to myself, okay, that's probably a much better idea.
Yeah.
To lift it up and get it up off of the table.
Yeah, don't put it under a bed or something. Get it as high as you can. Put it on top of a bookshelf, that kind of thing. And similarly with the satellites, everything, if it can be higher than a human head, that's a good thing. That'll really help.
Okay.
And then put it by an open door. If there's a door that's always open, line of sight is the best for Wi-Fi. Then there's nothing in the way. So get as close to line of sight as you can. The Orbi software tells you if the satellites are getting a good signal. So, I would try it. If you had, like I have a Samsung S22, if you've got a late model Samsung, you should be able to get 500 megabits easy. I know the radio's capable of that. So play with that. Play with Wi-Fi Analyzer. Play with moving things around.
Okay. Now, quick question before we go.
Yes.
So if by chance I do all of this, and let's say I'm getting the same results, ultimately I would have to consider, maybe is this the structure of the house, or should I consider adding a couple of more satellites to try to overcome that?
Yeah, more satellite. One, you don't need, honestly, you've got all you need. Get them closer. Okay. One more might help. here's the thing. If you've got the, and I know you can't really move the base station around much, but if you've got the base station somewhere where there's metal or, really thick walls or concrete, things in between it and the satellites, that's where the attenuation is going to happen. So it's kind of voodoo. It's kind of a dark science. You just have to mess with it.
Okay.
But the good news is you have, which Orbi did you get?
I got the, and I'm trying to look at it here because I'm not at home.
That's all right.
Just to call
you've got a really good Orbi.
I have the 750.
Yeah.
RBR 750.
Perfect. I mean, that is a great system. That goes very nicely with your gigabit service.
Okay.
So it's not the Orbi. Nothing you could get, in other words, is going to do better than that. You got Wi-Fi 6 on that. So if you can use a Wi-Fi 6, like I said, a modern Samsung or iPhone has Wi-Fi 6, that will give you a better idea of what you're capable of. And you got the satellites that go with it, right? The Wi-Fi 6 satellites? Yes. Yeah, the RBS 750.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yes.
You got the best you can get. Those are good.
Great.
So, another one might help if there are obstructions in the wall. But I think you're getting pretty good. Don't expect, more than 500 or 600. And you might really, but even 300 would be good. I can see why you're not happy with 100. That's still, by the way, pretty good.
Okay. I just figured if I could get 400 or 500.
Well, you ought to. You're paying for it, right? The other thing you could do, I wouldn't recommend, but the other thing you could do is you could start looking at other ways of getting the network through the walls, power line networking or MoCA, M-O-C-A, that uses the cable. But I wouldn't even bother with that, frankly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You've got everything you need. Just mess with it until you get it better.
Absolutely, I will do that. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and I've been a long-time listener, and it's great to talk to you.
Oh, I'm so glad you called. Happy Easter. Thank you, David.
You too, sir. Thank you much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and smartphones and smart watches and augmented reality and all this stuff that, changing the world around us, all this technology stuff, anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. As you listen, you'll hear some people who are new to technology, want some help getting going, and you also hear people who are complete and utter geeks. I will attempt to translate. Sometimes I get pulled down into the geekiness, and I apologize for that. But we're all in it together, right? Absolutely. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Now, let's see here. Oh, I should mention coming up, Rod Pyle, Mr. Space Guy, at 1:30. Meanwhile, Charles is on the line from San Diego, California. Hi, Charles.
How you doing?
Very well. Very well. It's spring. Spring has sprung. What can I do for you?
Well, every time I send an email to a friend of mine, use his last name at msn.com.
Yeah.
And it automatically gets rejected and goes. Somebody said the term would be ghost, but it comes back with his first initial, his last name, at the company he sold 2 years ago that doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh. So you're sending it to his MSN account, but the bounce, they call that the bounce back, because it goes boing and bounces back at you, is coming from his old business. That's because he may not even remember having done this, but he at some point told MSN, forward my mail to my business account. And, of course, since that server is no longer working, it's bouncing back. Either that or he set up MSN, and he may have done this as well, with an identity that says, I am not your buddy at MSN.com. I am your buddy at GalaxyWidgets.com.
Yeah.
So it's one or the other. You could, if you really wanted to get geeky here, go under the microscope here, you can look at the email headers, and you can see what the server was that sent it back. And it may, in fact, still be the MSN server. But, if you really want to get geeky, some email programs will let you look at the headers. The headers contain all the information about all the servers that email went through on its way to you, and in this case, on its way back. So it's something he has to fix is the bottom line.
He's got to fix it.
He's got to fix it. Nothing you can do about it. If you have another address for him, send him a note and say, hey, buddy, fix your MSN.
Yeah, because I get frustrated because I send him a couple of things every day, usually jokes and topical things about politics.
Are you sure he wants that email?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
he might be saying, "Oh, I know how to get rid of Charles." I get a few. It's funny. These joke lists. I get a few that I no longer want, and so I just send those to the waste paper basket. Yes, yeah. But if he wants them, it's something he's going to have to fix. I'm sorry to say.
Okay, now can he do that through Office 365?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what he did. So but ultimately, he's got to go to his MSN account and look at the settings on MSN. There's two possibilities. One is you can set up, a lot of times, you can do this with Gmail too, by the way. You could say, look, I know my email is going to leo@gmail.com, but I want it to, when I reply to it, I want it to be coming from my business address. So you're still using Gmail the whole time, but it says in the reply field or the from field, it says the business address. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is he actually told MSN, I don't want my mail here, forward it on to my business. I think it's most likely the former, but he's got, again, it's all through his account. Yeah, so he'll have to log into his MSN account.
Okay, all right. I think you've helped me. I got to tell him.
Yeah, that's the problem. You understand. But does he?
Well, it's frustrated, yeah.
Yeah, of course. He wants your jokes.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. That's fun. I hope that helps, Charles.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
If you want, I'll call him and walk him through it. No, I won't. I can't. No. That's a good trick, though, if you don't want to get those joke mailings, just bounce them back. Cindy's on the line. Oh, no, Cindy's coming up. Sorry, Cindy. Joy's next, Torrance, California. And then I'll take Cindy. Hi, Joy.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
I called you once before. You might remember because I called that my laptop was overheating.
Yes.
Because I had too many favorites.
Yes.
According to Geek Squad.
Wrong, but okay. We fixed it, right?
I doubled my favorites. I believe.
Good, because they were wrong. Yes, okay.
Yeah. So that's not what I'm calling about.
Yes.
I did a bad thing. I went to a site that suddenly... at the end, I read this little article. At the end of it, it sort of blew up, and I thought the world was going to end.
Oh, no.
And it said that I needed to, they had frozen everything, and I couldn't do anything.
Oh, please. Oh, please. How annoying.
Announcing this thing over and over, and I had to call this number. Well, like an idiot, I called the number.
Oh.
Yeah, it's going to get worse.
They got you.
They wanted me to download something. And it looked like it was Microsoft, so I thought, okay, this is legitimate. This is what Microsoft is supposed to do when things happen.
Okay, here's a little tip. Everybody listening, Microsoft will never call you, pop up something on your screen. They will never do this.
Yeah, I know that now.
Yeah, you know it now. So if somebody does it, it's not Microsoft. In fact, worse, it's somebody pretending to be Microsoft.
Yeah, and it's in India, apparently, because I couldn't hardly understand them.
Yeah. You know what often happens, I found out? These call centers, they have them during the day. They're legit, right? And at night, people want to earn some extra hours. They keep them running at night. And guess what you're going to be doing? Hello, I'm calling from Microsoft. I want to fix your computer.
Yeah, and my phone kind of cuts out, so it's between the two things.
Oh, Lord.
So after about 2 hours.
So did you download this software and put it on the computer? Twice. And did you give them any money?
Huh?
Did you give them any money?
No.
Good.
Yeah, I stopped.
So there's three things these guys do.
I was just like having an anxiety attack.
Of course. This is, by the way, it will always, it's always designed to scare you to they don't want you to think, right? So they want to.
I mean, I don't even remember if I tried to shut it off when it says don't shut it off.
Yeah. They're trying. They want to get you thinking viscerally instead of with your brain.
Yeah.
Because then you might do something dumb, and they got you.
They ended up threatening me that if I didn't shut up and listen to them and do what I was told.
Oh my God. These people are horrible.
But you know.
By the way, when I get calls from them, I say, "Does your mother know that you take advantage of people like this?" That's, by the way, they will swear at you if you say that.
So I finally hung up on them and called a friend of mine who's sort of a computer person. She's in the middle of doing taxes, though she couldn't help. And so she says, "You better call Geek Squad." And
your friends at Geek Squad.
Well, no, but she didn't have time to help me.
No, she can't help you. Yeah.
Well, I can't do this, and I'm trying to listen to these Indian,
I know.
Listen to the announcement going on with this.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
She says, call Geek Squad. I called Geek Squad, and after a lot of trouble, they couldn't. There's a thing called an S that stops them from being able to remotely control things.
They said, "Bring it in, and we'll fix it."
Yeah, I said I don't have a car, so can't do that.
No. So look, here's. Let me tell you how these scams work, so you know what your risks are. Sometimes they ask you for money, so that's risk number one. You give them $93. Risk number two is often the way that you give them $93 is you give them your credit card.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you were too smart to fall for that. That's good.
Yeah.
In fact, you caught on pretty quickly that this is not right.
Well,
The next thing they do is they say, "Can we operate your computer remotely so we can fix this problem?" And
okay, now you're going to yell at me because I let the Geek Squad do that.
Yeah, but that's okay because you called them and you know that's really the Geek Squad, right? It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's okay. In fact, that is in fact what tech companies will often do is remote access. The problem is you don't want to give bad guys remote access because then who knows what they're going to do. They could download files. They could, most likely, they're going to put programs on your computer, malware on your computer, and that malware can do any variety of things from encrypt your whole computer and then ask for money to run in the background trying to capture passwords as you key them in. Sometimes they'll look around for financial records and things. You know, if your tax return, it's on my computer. If it's on the computer, they could find that. That's got your social in it, your address, and all sorts of good information.
There's nothing that important on it.
So the worst thing it sounds like they did to you was put that software on there.
But the other thing, when the Geek Squad finally, she kept doing remote things and having to call. She goes, "Oh, well, can I call you back?" So when she finally did, after about 2.5 hours, she says, "Oh, you got tons of viruses all over the place, and it's making it run slow and all this." And for $240,
that's as much of a scam as these guys.
And she goes, "Well," I says, "I don't have that kind of money." And she says, "Well, when you have it, call me back." So here's my question.
Never. So I think we've had two bad experiences now with Geek Squad, haven't we?
My friend had said, like download something like.
No more downloading. Stop.
McAfee or something.
Yeah, no. So. The biggest risk is that there's something running on your computer right now, and every time you have your computer online, it's sending stuff out to the bad guys. That's the biggest risk. Probably not happening. The software they had you download, did you install it?
I don't know. I'm not a computer person.
You don't know what happened.
They told me.
Yeah, you don't know what happened. So, I mean, probably the safest thing for you to do at this point would be to wipe the computer and reinstall Windows, and then you'd be wiping out anything that was on there. Do you have stuff on that computer you don't want to lose?
Including all those favorites?
You can save them. Good news. Your browser lets you save them. So definitely save those favorites. You've put way too much time in that.
Yeah, I've even got them in little folders now.
Yeah. So the browser, you can export your favorites. I would do that. Are there documents on there that you want, pictures, anything like that?
No, there's no pictures.
Nothing important. In other words, if I were to take that computer, erase the drive, and put on Windows again, you'd be okay. And
I'd still have my favorites there?
If that's all you have to protect, yeah. That's nothing else?
Email, of course, but the email's not really connected.
No, yeah, that's right. Nowadays, the email's stored wherever your email is. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that.
So that's about it.
Okay, so I want you to export your favorites. This is what the Geek Squad should have done, by the way. But they don't make $200 if they don't.
No,
if they do this.
They want to spend $93 and come to my house.
Yes, exactly. So, I wish I could come to your house because this is a fast and easy thing. And if you had a nephew or somebody who knew about computers, they would do this too. You're going to need an external drive of some kind.
Oh, I've got one of those. What's it called? Flash drive.
Good.
Little thing you plug in there.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you had two because one of them we're going to save those favorites out to.
Okay.
We want to get the favorites somewhere off the computer because that's the only thing you want to save, right? Everything else is unimportant. Then you're going to download Windows from Microsoft. Now make sure you get it from Microsoft. Download Windows. And the way you can do that is Google or any kind of search Windows Media Creation Tool.
Windows
Media, because the media is what you're going to create. Creation tool. And that should take you to a site at Microsoft.com. And the site will say download Windows 10. And you're going to you're on Windows 10, I presume, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to download Windows 10, and they have instructions there. Follow them step by step to put the Windows 10 installer on that flash drive.
Download Windows 10.
This is a little geeky. You're going to earn your geek cred for this. It's okay. You can do it. I know. It's a good thing to know, though.
Windows 10 instructions
on the site to create you want to make a USB drive that you can boot. And if the instructions aren't clear, you can Google making a Windows installer. Lots of sites have
Hang on. Talking too fast. I got to write everything down. I'm really computer stupid. Okay. Create USB. Will this be on the website later?
I'll make sure it is.
Okay, then I won't have to write it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So understand the overall idea, the overarching idea. You don't need to write this down. Is you're going to create on that USB key, you're going to make a Windows installer. And you're going to restart the computer with that key in, and it's going to boot up, and it's going to say, do you want to install Windows? And you're going to say, yes, please. And it's going to say, but wait, you already have Windows. You say, wipe that drive. I don't want it. Everything on that drive, erase. It's going to install a fresh install of Windows. Actually, you know what? Who made the computer that you're using?
HP.
Oh, I got a better idea. This will work. This is easier. You don't have to download anything.
Oh, okay.
Windows 10 comes with a reset my computer command.
Yeah.
So you press, there's a key on your keyboard that looks like the Windows logo. Press that, and a menu, a window pop up. You type reset my computer, and you walk through the steps. You erase everything. You reset your computer. It'll come back to the way it was when you got it home without any malware on there now. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I should have thought of that right away. I'm so sorry. This is much easier. And chances are, now, it's a little, I shouldn't bring it up. It might be less effective if they're really smart, these bad guys. They weren't. They might have put something in there. You can infect the reinstall thing, but I don't think they did. So this is good. Reset this PC. Which means it's going to come back to the way it was when you came home with it, when you bought it.
Yeah.
That's what you want. All that bad stuff is gone. But you'll also lose your favorites. So before you do that, save your favorites out to that flash drive.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Can I ask you one other question?
Yes.
I have a wireless phone, cordless phone, but it's for a landline. It's starting to cut out on some conversations. It's perfectly all right today, but it's like I'm hearing like that.
Yeah. It's as you get farther from the base station.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a radio, and it's getting interference.
I don't know. I was right next to it yesterday when I was trying to talk to the people in India. It was horrible.
Could have been them.
That too.
Could have been them.
Could you recommend a very inexpensive answering machine / cordless phone?
Yeah.
You could turn the volume down on the ringer.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
So you want to look for the new technology that you want to look for is DECT.
Okay.
DECT, Digital Enhanced Cordless Telecommunications. Those DECT phones are much better, and they don't cut out anymore.
Digitally enhanced.
And it doesn't matter what you get. You could go to Target or whatever and find whatever they've got. Should be around. I mean, I see a VTech for $15 at Walmart.
Yeah.
So, and VTech's fine. So you
enhanced. I'm sorry. What was it?
DECT. That's all you like. Detective. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Joy. I'm sorry. This is terrible. I hate those people.
I know. Well, I've learned my lesson.
I hate them. Yeah, the thing to do is never panic, because they want to panic you. Because when you panic, you act without thinking. And as soon as then they got you, right?
So my friend was saying, maybe because you were just like acting like, oh, I don't know what to do. How about
exactly?
It's gone crazy. Maybe they just gave up on you and didn't.
It sounds like you were able to hang up on them before they did anything too evil. They put software. They probably might have put software in your system, so that's what you're getting rid of when you do the reset my PC.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Joy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So I stayed on the line a little bit more with Joy. The best solution, I'm kind of sometimes stuck in the past. You used to have to download a Windows installer, but nowadays, and I love this. This is exactly what should happen. Microsoft took a page from Android, I think. Android phones, there's a reset this phone. Same on the iPhone. There's a reset this phone back to factory state, factory condition. Chromebooks have this feature as well. They call it Power Wash. The idea is you go to a menu entry. You say, oh, I messed this up bad. This is messed up. Put it back the way it was when it came. Remember in the old days of PCs, you'd buy a PC and it would come with a recovery disk. Yes. Then Microsoft told PC makers, no, can't do that anymore. We're going to charge you extra if you do it. They literally said that because they were worried about piracy. Oh, you might give that disk to somebody else and they might use Windows for free. And so they told PC manufacturers no more recovery disks. Oh, thank you, Microsoft. That was an improvement. So then you might remember this. PCs started to come with when you first turn it on, a program that said, make your recovery disks. Get 53 floppies or 4 recordable CDs, and we're going to go through the process, which, by the way, I've done many times, often fails. I don't know why, but it doesn't work. And then you don't have a recovery disk. Most PCs, for a long time, for I'd say a decade, were sold with no recovery disk at all, no way to recover. Recently, thank you, Microsoft, finally, they put this reset your PC command. So it's in the settings, reset your PC. It goes back to factory state. That's how it ought to be. That's what you should use. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Rod Pyle, space guy, coming up. Everybody sing along now. Yeah, I'm learning how to play. I've seen Elton John in concert. I've watched his lips closely. And I finally had to look it up, Rod Pyle, space guy. You know what he's saying. Burning up my fuse out here alone.
I didn't know it until you told me.
Rod Pyle is our space expert. He's the editor-in-chief of the wonderful Ad Astra magazine, the official publication of the National Space Society at NSS.org, the author of Amazing Stories of the Space Age, author of Interplanetary Robots, Space 2.0, Blueprint for a Battle Plan, and my favorite book, which I've stolen from my very own coffee table at home so that I can hold it up on the radio so that you can't see it. First on the Moon. This is actually a great book. I'm a big fan, as you know, of all of the Apollo astronauts. And this is the story of Apollo 11, the first landing on the moon. It's wonderful. Lots of pictures.
We love that book because it generated royalty checks for the first time in about 8 years.
For Buzz Aldrin?
Which are rare. No, for me.
Oh, for you.
Yeah. I had not seen a real royalty check in a while. You know, they'd come in for $1,000 or something.
Rod, can I just say, I have written 13 books.
Yes. Still waiting.
Haven't had a check in a while.
Well, they're still paying off all those paper clips and that Xeroxing.
Anyway.
You look at the reports and they'll tell you that. But yeah.
Anyway.
So, hey. News today.
Yes.
And we're going to have a press conference tomorrow with NASA.
Yeah, I saw it. It's not good news.
After almost a month of trying to do a fueling and countdown test for the SLS, they're rolling it back into the barn, the vehicle assembly building, for repairs. Now, before we get too carried away here, I just want to remind people a couple of things. SLS gets a lot of grief, and it deserves a lot of it.
What does SLS stand for?
Space Launch System.
Space Launch. So this is the rocket that was going to take humans back to the moon.
Yes, and we were supposed to be launching an uncrewed test. Well, now we're saying the summer. It was May, then it was June, maybe it's July or August, and now we're just saying
this
the
is
summer.
Frustrating. This was for the Artemis 1 moon mission.
Right. And, in its simplest form, we've sort of been trying to recreate the Saturn V for 20 years. But really what we're doing is trying to take old shuttle hardware and shuttle technology and repurpose it for an expendable rocket to get us back to the moon because the shuttle couldn't leave Earth orbit. It's been a real trial, and it's been $23 billion across roughly a decade and a half. But, that sounds like a lot, and it's really upsetting people that this test failed, and I'll get into that in a second. But it's a lot less than the Apollo program cost, because when you adjust those dollars, Apollo is something like $253 billion over a decade in 2021 dollars, 2022 dollars. Right. So, SLS is, if you include the capsule and the rocket and everything else, roughly a tenth of that.
Well, that's good.
So even though we're kind of going over territory we've done before, and the SLS is a very different design than the Saturn V, it's understandable that they're having some problems. That said, it is so frustrating. They rolled this rocket out to the launch pad on the crawler on March 17th, and they had 3 attempts to do what they call a wet dress rehearsal, which is fueling it, doing the countdown, and then stopping at the 10-second mark because you don't want it to take off, right? But you want to make sure everything works.
They couldn't even get that far?
No, and the weirdest thing, so on the first test, which is April 3rd, they had to scrub because they're having problems with not the rocket, but the launch platform. Fans that are supposed to keep explosive hydrogen gases building up didn't work, so they switched to a backup, and that also malfunctioned. And so here's where it gets interesting, because NASA starts actually changing the parameters of the tests and saying, okay, well, we won't do this part, we'll do this part because that'll get us good data. And that makes sense, but it's also kind of like going to a calculus exam and finishing an algebra test, It's making it easier so you don't have to hit the marks. April 4th, they tried again. They got the liquid oxygen tank halfway filled. Hydrogen tank had a misconfigured vent valve that they couldn't remotely change, so that only got, I think, 5% filled, so they stopped. Then they had to pause the whole thing to let SpaceX launch the Axiom 1 mission, which is coming back in a day or two. And then on the third test, they had more problems, temperature misalignments, and other things. So they did get to a lot of critical events they wanted to get to, but they just couldn't finish the test. And then finally, they found leaks in hydrogen fuel lines. So they just said, okay, on April 14th at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, they said, all right, that's it. We're heading back to the barn. So hopefully Boeing, who is the main contractor for this rocket, will be able to get those things fixed, although they've been working on Starliner for months now and still haven't reflown that test, which partially failed. So fingers crossed they can just replace these parts and get the thing back out in a few months. But, at this point, it could be 2023.
Okay.
The original launch date was 2016.
Let's not cast blame. Space is hard.
Space is hard, and this is the moon rocket we have. Starship is still being
Well, that's
built
the question.
Yeah.
Could Elon have done this better?
He could have done it faster, and I think he would have for sure done it reusably, and the SLS is completely expendable. Everything is tossed, used once. So he would have done it with newer technology, probably for much, much less, but we don't know. That's a guess. In a couple of years, if Starship is working, then we'll know, yes, that would have been the right way to go. And at $4 billion a copy, we may decide not to fly SLS anymore.
Oh, man. And is there blame? Is there does somebody screw up or no? This just is hard.
You know, it's hard, but if there's blame,
of course we have done it before.
Turn to Congress, because the SLS was to a large extent kept alive by Congress. NASA a few times had really turned to the commercial sector and said, you know, this would be a good way to go. And Congress says, not. I got a rocket plant in my district. I've got an engine factory in my district. I've got a heat tile plant in my district. You got to keep the work coming here.
Yeah.
So
that's
between
too bad.
the SLS and the
it's boondoggles. It's
a little bit of pork bellying.
Pork belly, yeah. Earmarks.
But, yeah. But that's the reality of the American political system, right? And there's a lot of people that are being kept on good jobs.
That's right.
I guess the other direction I'd point, without malice, but I just don't understand what's happening with Boeing. They're having so many challenges.
They are
doing things they've done well before in one form or another. I mean, this valve thing, it was valves on the SLS test to some extent, and it was entirely valves that fouled up the last attempt at launching Starliner, which is Boeing's answer to the Crew Dragon, which is also supposed to be delivering people to the space station. It's valve bodies, you know? Fix the valves. It's probably harder than that, but fix the valves.
I think most people, you know, you and I, because we're space buffs, you even host a show about space, This Week in Space at twit.tv/twists with Tarek Malik of space.com. So we're abnormally obsessed with this. Probably most people are not saying, there they go again, SLS going back. They're not. They're just, when we get to the moon, we'll have a party and that'll be that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but that date keeps slipping. And
I know, but nobody knows what that date was. It's not like they set out.
Remember when we were kids during the space race and Apollo got delayed, and as kids you're going, come on, you guys, hurry up, I want to see this.
Uncle Walter would have to take apart the Saturn V model over and over again.
And I feel like that's kind of happening again. I mean, I'm very excited about what's going on, but we're still, for instance, trying to figure out what spacesuits these astronauts are going to wear on the lunar surface, because our newest spacesuits are about 30 years old.
Wow.
And
Elon's got some good-looking spacesuits.
Yeah, but they're pressure suits. They're not made for walking around the lunar surface.
They're like flight suits,
But he has offered, because he's Elon, when he's not buying...
I don't trust Elon,
to buy Twitter,
to be honest with you.
He offered, and he said, look, I'll build you an EVA suit. And NASA said, oh, we'll get back to you. But he probably could.
He probably could.
I mean, every time you count Elon out for something, he comes back and nails it.
Yeah, so. Except for Twitter, except for that Twitter thing. Author of Space 2.0, editor-in-chief of Ad Astra, host of This Week in Space. Is there anything Rod Pyle cannot do except end this segment on time? Thank you, Rod.
Radio show. Thank you.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. There's just too much to talk about.
There is. And how long are our segments supposed to be?
Oh, God only knows.
I mean,
do you want a timer? I could put a timer up. I have a little...
Well, I have a timer. I bought one for this.
Oh, how long is it? Let me
for.
ask Laura. How long is his segment supposed to be, Laura? What should he set his timer for? She doesn't know.
Okay.
9 minutes?
It's not just me.
I think, yeah. 8:20. 8 minutes and set your timer for 8:20, and then just know that you'll be out of time at 8:20. So start rapping at 8:10 or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
And I always start rapping. I always start rapping you. No, it's not your job. It's my job. If we have failed, it is because I have failed.
Oh,
yes.
No, that's a shame.
But we haven't failed. The fact we can't fail. It's all on a timer. It's automatic. We can't.
So, I was going to mention, because we ran out of time, but do you remember the Apollo 4 test back in the day?
Yes.
That was the one where Walter Cronkite's, it was the first launch of the Saturn V, first test launch, no people on it. And that's the one where Cronkite had to jump up and hold the window.
Oh, Lord. I don't remember
vibrating
that.
So hard, he was afraid it was going to shatter. There were tiles falling down.
Holy cow.
And that was the first time they flew the Saturn V.
How fun. So that was a massive rocket, wasn't it?
Well, and it's kind of analogous to this test, right? First time.
Yeah. No one knew what to expect. Yeah.
And I wish we still had Uncle Walter, because he was...
Oh, he was great.
There are people that will argue this, but he was absolutely the best guy to watch for this space test. Because he was so into it. Right?
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Right. That's exactly right. You knew this was important because Walter said so. Yeah.
And you remember when Armstrong stepped on the moon and he was just there going, wow, Wally, I don't know what to say. And Wally Shiraz tearing up because he wanted to be there, right?
Oh, gosh. But, I think our best days are behind us, but...
Well, you can only do it the first time once.
That's true.
But I think...
That's true. It'll never be as amazing as it was that first time, of course.
But if you go to Kennedy now, you see these enormous facilities that both Bezos and Blue Origin and Musk are building, and they're serious.
Yeah.
They've had some setbacks, but these guys are dead serious, and I think once they find a way to start making a little money out there, it won't have to be a lot, it's going to just catch fire. And there's a ton of little companies getting in. It's just the billionaires get to go first because they're billionaires.
I'm hoping.
I'm hoping. Soon, trillionaires.
I'm hoping.
Are going. Is my Dogecoin ever going to get back to the $65
You're
I bought
asking
it
the
at?
wrong guy. I'll ask Padre next week, though. He was the king of Doge. Yeah.
As I was listening to your last ad read, and I thought, I did that once.
My retirement's all in Dogecoin.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
No.
Oh, boy.
Only $1,000.
Oh, boy. All right, sir. Have a wonderful childhood, and we will see you in a week.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for letting me be your tech guy each and every week. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks to Professor Laura, our musical director, playing the hits for you. Thanks, of course, to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. She gets you on the air, gets you ready for your appearance on national radio. Most of all, thanks to those of you who call and those of you who merely sit and listen. We couldn't do it without both of you. We really appreciate it. Thank you for letting me be your tech guy. I mean it. Couple more calls, I think, before we wrap this up for the week. Cindy on the line, finally, from Carson, California. Thanks for your great patience, Cindy. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. I live right in a town next door to your last caller, Joy.
Nice. Maybe you could run over and help her because it's a mess. It's a mess.
She was scrambling my brain. And I want to tell you, you whistle very nicely.
Thank you. I try only to do it off the air, but I guess, oh well.
And then you turn me on to iDrive, and every time I have an issue, I'm very thankful for you for that.
Yes. A great backup can save you from a multitude of problems. So I'm so glad to hear that you have taken advantage of that. That's great.
Right. Now, the reason I'm calling is I have a year-old HP. It just turned over a year.
Okay.
And what is Dropbox, and why do I need it?
Dropbox or OneDrive?
I don't know. Are they the same?
No, they're not. But usually on Windows, people complain about OneDrive because Microsoft's Dropbox and OneDrive, and truthfully iDrive, which you're already familiar with, are similar in many ways. They are cloud storage over the internet on somebody's servers out there. And the reason you use it, there's a variety of reasons. The reason you use iDrive is to back up your data. And that's how you could use Dropbox or OneDrive. There are other reasons you might use it. You can use it to share files with other people. So, and securely too in many cases. So that's a nice feature. If you have for instance, let's say you do tax returns. You're very busy today. You want to share those tax returns with your clients. Better than sending them through email would be to store them on Dropbox or OneDrive for them to download.
So other people have access to it?
Yes, you can allow that. They don't by default. You can allow it.
Okay.
So it's for sharing data, but it's also for storing your data. And a lot of people, it's become more and more popular as we use more devices. So if you have a computer at home, a computer at work, a phone, maybe a tablet, and you'd like access to your data from all of those platforms, the easiest way to do it is store it not on any one of those, but in the cloud, where you all can access it. Your email's been doing that for some time, I betcha. Right? Your email, you can get your email on all your devices.
Yes.
And that's because it's stored on the server, whether it's Gmail or Hotmail or Outlook or whatever. It's stored on the server where you access it. So it's just like that for your files. Now, the probably what you're seeing. HP may do this with Dropbox. All Microsoft computers do it with OneDrive, which is Microsoft's. They would like you to pay them money.
Exactly.
Yes.
They say my box is full.
Ah, your box is full.
Yes.
So what they all do is they offer you a free tier of some amount, knowing that you will sooner than later fill it up, and then they can come at you for money.
$118.
Well, no, you don't need to. There's all sorts of. So you get from Dropbox anyway. You get 2 gigabytes, which isn't very much for free. Apple's iDrive gives you 5 gigabytes. Google's Drive gives you, I think, 10 gigabytes. So 2 is pretty weak, and so you will fill that up pretty quickly. Why are you filling it up? Well, at some point you created an account. You signed in and you said, please, let's keep this stuff. You probably have a Dropbox folder on your computer, and whenever you put something in there, it automatically gets copied to Dropbox in the cloud. Unless you have a use for it, I wouldn't pay for it.
I don't know that I really don't recall that I intentionally did anything. And even today, if I don't intentionally put anything or save it to Dropbox.
Well, what you want to do is it'll be running in the lower right-hand corner. You know, you have those little icons. It's called this taskbar. There'll be a Dropbox icon there. Right-click it and open it and see what the settings are. You are copying something there. Sometimes it's set up that your documents folder gets copied there. HP may have done that. That's not the normal setup, but HP gets a little money when you buy Dropbox. That's why computers these days always come loaded up with what we call trialware, because they don't make enough money selling you the computer, and so they want to make a little extra on the side. And so they've got to deal with Dropbox. And they may have set it up so that your desktop or your documents folder or other folders get copied there automatically. And then, you know, you're going to get that notice. But you don't need it if you're not using it. So I would go to the preferences of Dropbox. Just turn it off.
Okay.
You already have iDrive for your backup. That's really what you want it for. Unless you're going to share files with a friend, or you for some reason want to have a shared folder that multiple computers can use, I don't think you need it.
Nope, not really. Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
$118.
Yes. Well, I actually have all of them. Partly because I need to know them and use them and understand them, and also over time I've accreted many of these. So I have a Dropbox account, a Google Drive account, a OneDrive account. I pay for all of those. But I have reasons to use them. Unless you know you need them, I wouldn't. Last call of the day. Let's go to Corona, California. Ken is on the line. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Leo. I traded in my iPhone SE for a newer iPhone SE with the larger storage and whatever.
Good.
My problem that I'm having is trying to pair that thing with my car, and I've done it 2 or 3 times. I've called the Apple.
And your old one worked fine.
The old one worked fine. The new one, occasionally I'll look at it and I'll see a little green thing. Oh, it's there. And then a lot of times I wasn't aware of it until one day my daughter called, and the radio kept playing, and so I had to stop.
Oh, that's frustrating.
And I went to a dealer, and went through the process. It doesn't seem to hold. It comes up from time to time, but it doesn't seem to stay there. So what are we doing wrong in the settings?
Nothing. What's the make of the vehicle?
It's a Dodge Caravan.
Okay. So I have heard problems with a variety of different manufacturers and pairing phones. Bluetooth itself is a nightmare. And then, it's not unusual that Apple makes an upgrade, or, the car is changed. In this case, you have an older vehicle, I think. So a newer phone might expect capabilities the car doesn't have. First thing to do, you probably did this at the dealer. I'm sure he tried. But the first thing to do is make sure you forget the old phone in the settings in the Dodge. In fact, I would forget all the phones. So you get in the car and you look at your Bluetooth settings and you just forget any phone that you don't use.
Right. We took everything out.
Took everything out. Okay. And then repaired the phone, and it worked for a while and it stopped.
That's correct.
Yeah, there's probably not a fix for it.
If 5G makes a difference?
No, because it's just Bluetooth. But Bluetooth changes over time. I would Google's your friend in this case, because there'll be other people who have the new iPhone SE with the latest iOS, 15.4.1 and a Dodge Caravan who are having the same problem. There may not be a fix. It may be up to the manufacturer to fix it. Probably not up to Apple because, 10 million people have this phone. And if there's a problem with a few of them, it's probably the car, not the phone. I'm sorry to say that. This is just a common problem with Bluetooth, to be honest with you. I would check. You checked with a dealer. That was the right thing to do. Google online, see if you can find some other people with that problem. Maybe they've found a solution. I'm sorry. It's annoying. You've done the only thing I could say to do, which is remove the phone and try over. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I have a website, techguylabs.com. This is show 1886. We put as many of the links as we can up there, transcripts, audio and video from the show. That's open and free to all. Join me there this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.